I'm being told that we are on a time crunch here, so. Okay.
Getting that for you, Kim.
Well, I guess we'll open up the meeting for,
The workshop?
what's that?
The workshop, open up the workshop.
The workshop, meeting workshop. Okay, we'll start with the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this is a workshop, budget workshop, and
So,
done.
oh, I'm sorry, but just real quick before you start. So in front of you, I gave you a little schedule, these ones? Schedule, yeah, of who we're expecting when. Cable does need a little bit of flexibility, so he may be a little bit late. Michelle needs to be out here at 4:30, and I'm expecting, we've got two different issues going on, so the town attorney's calls, so just so you're aware, if I walk out, that's why.
So what we do, we've got a 2 o'clock with the transfer station, so.
Jeff, you wanna come sit at the table? All right, so Michelle, you wanna guide them to where this is?
So in your book, it should be under transfer station. The account is 10540.
I went that way.
It's also in your packet here. It's on page 9.
Okay.
Trim the tab. Got it. Kim?
Oh, jeez.
Where's the phone? Yep, right there. So I think, with the transfer station, and we know that Jeff has been in the position just a short amount of time now. Overall, he put in for budget increases, for the salaries for 3%, but that is budgeted on Sundays year-round, I think, from what I understand from the last selectmen's meeting.
Okay.
Right. Well, is that true? Not, is that what you did?
Yes.
Okay, so those numbers that you see there represent, 3% salary increases, but also adds in for the Sundays year-round. I think other than that, there are no other changes, but I know that the treasurer wanted to use this time, or there may be some change, well, actually, no, there are some changes. Did you increase those?
I have not changed anything.
Okay. I thought originally that we had the discussion, and I apologize, that he didn't change anything other than the hours, and we had some lines.
Yeah, he didn't change anything other than the hours, and I have a suggestion of an increase, but,
You made mention last week about something with the demo.
the demo is already, overdrafted, and we still have, till June to go. So I do suggest an increase there. I would say
Is that the 50551? Which demo are you looking at?
demo hauling
Dispense.
50552.
52, so one to Punskey's.
Yep.
Yep.
So this year we budgeted 33,670 and it's already overdrawn?
Yes.
Okay.
What would be your recommendation? I mean, we're overdrafted now already,
Yeah,
so are we talking maybe a $10,000 or $15,000 jump in that?
yeah.
Okay.
Should we go 15 to be safe?
Yeah, I would say 15 to be safe.
Okay.
And is this the demo, and maybe Jeff can kind of help answer, I know there's been conversations and, that at some point Acton might need to look at considering charging for some of the demo. Is this the line that things like tires and couches and stuff are paid out of?
No, well, couches and stuff, tires, they take for free right now.
Just
Yeah.
1 month a year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But Acton pays for those tires,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, they just haven't picked them up yet.
So this line, the hauling line, and I don't mean to call it by the company, but the hauling line, is being increased because of the extra demo that we're seeing, because there's no
getting
charge,
more,
right?
right.
And I know we've heard from some residents or property owners that they feel like if they want to get rid of a couch, then they should pay for their couch, and they shouldn't have to pay if everybody else wants, you know what I mean? They shouldn't have to pay for everybody else's couch, if you will.
Right, they don't care. if that's
Acton is one of the few towns left, I think, Michelle, that doesn't charge. I know Chapley charges for demo, Lebanon charges for demo,
Newfield.
Newfield.
I've been in the, camp there where, you know, people who are bringing in shingles and all that stuff there, you know, a lot of these guys are contractors. That, you know, even if you charge them a $25 or $50 charge for a trail load, that takes some of the bite out of our side of it. And I know, I can't speak for everybody, but I would think that anybody would say, I'll pay 15, 20 bucks to get rid of a mattress, you know?
Right, so
something like that.
what kind of revenues, right off, do you
They'll
know?
pull them
does-
apart, you know?
What kind of revenues does Chapley get from their demos roughly?
It's roughly around $26,000 a year.
So, and one thing that they do in the neighboring town, which might help, you know, people that aren't taking a lot of demo, is they, with their tax bills, everybody gets one free demo load. You know, there's a card in there, if you will.
a good idea.
You know, and it says, it allows you to have one free demo load. So if, you know, just a regular household wants, you know, because for the most part, we're not all getting rid
The
of.
people bringing demo in, you'll probably find, I'm just thinking out loud, the people that are bringing most of this demo is probably repeat offenders.
Yes, we have a lot of contractors that come
Okay,
in.
well, that's a good reason.
And are they having to prove that the stuff comes from Acton?
Well,
How do they prove that?
Well, we try to. If they got a project going in town, we call the code office to ask them if there's an active permit there.
Oh, you do
There's a
that
lot of-
now?
I do. There's a lot of times they'll say they're doing a job on whatever street, and they're not even from in-state. So I try to check to at least see.
So they're not from in-state,
The contractors aren't.
and they're dumping at the town hall.
Right, because they're doing a job for somebody in town. So I think if we,
So how do we do that?
Well, for a while, before we changed code officers, we required demo permits.
Yeah.
They were free, but at least it was a tracking device for us, and they'd have to go there, so that would save the transfer station.
Are they showing that permit?
We haven't
we
stopped
we
doing.
don't issue them.
Oh, so
we stopped-
now we're just assuming they're in the town.
Well, he's saying
Well, I
he's
call
calling.
the code officer to see if there's actually a building permit
Okay.
at that address they give me.
Yeah.
A lot of towns charge a demo permit when you get a building permit,
Yeah.
because
So
there's
you're,
some big
it's more
projects.
contractors, not, Joyce bringing a couch or Dennis bringing a stove?
No, it's a lot of boat wrap from when they unwrap boats, a lot of construction debris from contractors.
So,
we should.
maybe, you know,
I mean, from the looks of it, we're overdrafted. I mean, I see trailer loads of stuff going up there. I mean, dump trailer loads.
That's another
Stuff that, you know, myself, I take all my stuff right down to Simpsons because it's,
Right.
I pay for it, but it's not that expensive. But, I mean, if you're getting it for free, they're bringing it here instead of there.
And that's another issue, is the amount of trailers that are coming in. They take up a lot of room in line, the cars end up out in the road.
We start charging for that, maybe we'll deter a little bit of that.
Right.
You know, because the problem is with the contractors is, you know, they could be doing a job up there, but like I'm a contractor, I'm doing jobs in Kennebunk, Saco, I'm everywhere, so you never know. I could call up and say, yeah, I am doing a job in Acton, but.
doesn't mean you're doing it today.
I might not be actually hauling it from Acton.
Right.
So that's the problem.
It is.
So you know, we're not gonna catch everybody that's doing bad
Right.
by doing that, but I think by putting
It would
out,
probably help.
we might be able to deter it and actually get something back into this line item.
so why don't we work on, pulling some samples from surrounding towns of what they charge, and we'll set an agenda date. I'll touch base with Tom, we'll set it as an agenda item for a Board of Selectmen meeting. I mean, in any event, that line has to be budgeted. I mean, we can only hope that we can offset it with revenues in the next fiscal year if you decide to incorporate fees, but for now, for the purpose of the budget, we've got to just increase it and figure out how to offset it later.
Yeah, and that, we obviously got to, you know, that's kind of an issue for me, having contractors coming in from out of state saying they're working wherever. We gotta have some sort of,
Way to check that.
And
yeah,
we can, I mean, the new code officer has been in the position
Right, he's
long
been
enough
there long
now
enough
that we
now
can
that-
put the demo permits back in place in, you know, as well as add fees, but let's put it as a board agenda item, because we really can't do anything about it here.
obviously now we gotta, we're gotta worry about budget here. We got a whole lot of time, but
So is there another line, Michelle, other than that one that you recommend increasing?
That one's the one of main concern there.
Now, Jeff, you had mentioned too that you wanted to incorporate some, some safety gear as far as, we talked about sweatshirts and, those kind of things. Is that incorporated in a miscellaneous account here? Are you gonna be able to purchase that?
I believe so.
Okay, you think you have it worked in somewhere?
Yeah,
Is that
that's,
sweatshirts or like uniforms or?
Well, the day glow,
Okay.
Yeah.
there's when people come in, they go everywhere,
Right.
and
no, really, I mean, you go to any transfer station like Sanford or any big one, any employee that's walking around that dooryard should have some fluorescent on.
I
And it
was
doesn't
thinking
really
fluorescent
have,
sweatshirt or t-shirt.
Yeah, and we spoke to
you know.
McKinney's and got some good prices on some stuff in addition to what you would ask for that we'll present to you.
it
right,
could also just be a regular flip-on vest.
Yeah,
that's what we
exactly.
currently
I
have
think
now.
that would be the best way to do, something that's not gonna be constrictive and hot in the summertime either.
Right.
That's true,
Yeah,
yeah.
we did it, we've got a few different sweatshirts, t-shirts, things that we thought you might like, so. All right, so this, as far as the salaries, at some point tomorrow, we expect the board's gonna have a full conversation and some sort of, come to an agreement on what they're gonna do with salaries, but is there anything else in here that you wanna point out, or Michelle, any concerns with? Nothing else,
I
Jeff,
have
that
a
you
question,
can?
what line do we chip our brush, but I'm not seeing a line on here.
In the past, we had a separate wood line, but, like the wood, the pressure treated and all that now is going into demo, so that got combined into the demo line. So there isn't a specific line for that chipping.
That hasn't been done yet,
No.
and that needs to be done before
Yeah.
spring. It should be.
And I would think that, there's some leeway in that compactor line.
Okay,
That if the board, was in agreement that it could be spent out of there, because you just had repairs to the compactor, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a new pad.
Yeah.
And have we gotten those last couple of bills on the compactor, the skid steer yet?
I haven't gotten a skid steer yet, no.
Did they give you an estimated cost on that, what it was
No, they
costing?
didn't, and I asked, it was a 2,000 service, so I asked them to give me an estimate on it, but he hasn't.
What does that mean, a 2,000 service?
2,000 hour service.
Oh, 2,000 hour service.
It was at 2,300, and the last time it was serviced was in 2013. It had 900 hours on it.
The 2,000-hour service, but they
An hour,
do
once he said hour, I got
all the
it.
fluids,
All the
everything.
fluids, the radiator fluid, everything.
Take care
They
of
didn't,
it.
they didn't tell you, give you a price on coming out or nothing?
No,
It's done already?
yeah.
Okay.
Generally, we try to get at least an estimate in advance, so we kind of have an idea, especially where we're going in, kind of finishing up the last few months of a budget, so it's just helpful to kind of get some sort of rough estimate
Yeah, 'cause that
in
that
advance.
bill could be quite costly.
Well, his miscellaneous line, he's got a little
Yeah,
wiggle
he's
room.
got an equipment line.
Okay.
All right. Anything else on that one? No other concerns, Jeff, regarding the budget?
No, not really. Just, I just want to make sure I can get that brush pile checked, because it's quite large.
Did you have your estimate for it? Because I never saw an estimate for it.
No, and I haven't seen anything of what it's cost us in the past to get it done. But, I've talked to a few people, so they've given me some, just by me
What's
telling them.
that?
Estimates for chipping the
Chipping.
pile?
Chipping the
Who does,
Used to
who's
be
done it in the
about $3,000 to
past?
$4,000 a year.
Do we know?
It used to be.
Used to be.
Simpson's last year was up to 7.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and I know Will and, the previous superintendent were working together to get prices from a couple other organizations. And I just don't know
I can,
where that
I can
lies.
give you a couple names. I know
That
some
would be,
guys who do
and
that.
I think the big cost last year was hauling it off, trailering it out. I would like to leave it on site, make it available to the residents, so I think we can cut the cost, maybe more.
People like those chips.
So he can start getting
I
some
myself would
quotes.
rather see it gone, so we don't have to worry about having people coming in and taking the stuff, and, it'd be better just be out of sight, out of mind, but that's your call.
I would think that we'd want to contact the insurance company to make sure that,
We can leave it on site.
Right,
Right.
first.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
problem, if you leave it on site and not everybody does take it, then you got the pile.
right.
And then you have individuals coming in with the trucks and loading it in, and of course, we can't be loading any vehicles with the skid steer, that would be a no-no on our insurance
Right.
plan. So, so I would think at the end of the day, getting it gone, if they grind it on site, put it in a trailer and ship it out, that's better.
Well, I have a kid that takes the leaves and compost now. He would
Yep.
probably, at the same time, take the chips too at the end of the season.
Yeah, as long as we had some sort of arrangement, he has insurance and everything else, but it kinda gets sticky when you
Yeah,
start doing
let's,
that.
and in an effort to not get too far off track here, so let's get quotes for, so we have a policy, that, for purchasing and spending and so forth, so double check the policy on what the amount is, but you really should get at least 2 or 3 quotes in writing. And if you want to get them, leaving it on site and taking them off, you can come, we'll get you on an agenda with the board, you can have a discussion, we'll follow up with the insurance company as well, but try to get 2 or 3 in writing, and then we'll get you on an agenda to make a decision.
So the chip-in's already included in here somewhere?
It was previously, it was part of the wood line, but the price went up so high last year. It just kind of got eaten by,
So we really kinda have to compensate for that now, knowing that the price has gone up. Cause before, cause when Scott and I used to do it, we would line up our grinding at the same time they lined up their grinding, so it would cost us like $3,000, $3,500, so it was like $7,000 for the both of them.
Yeah.
Now it sounds like the price is doubled.
yes.
And it may probably go more than that. So, but if we don't have that in here, then we could very well be on the wrong side of it.
Right.
So where should we increase, like what line, do you think, to put it in? Or do we just make up a wood chipping line
I think we should
again?
make up a new wood chipping line.
I mean, that's,
Yeah.
Best thing to do.
I mean,
Yeah.
that way we know where it is, and,
And if we do that, then what we ought to do right now is increase that line to at least what we had before or a percentage higher. I mean, I would think if he's charging 7,000 now, the way everything's going up, I put a $10,000 line item on
And
that.
it sounded like he was looking to get this done before spring, so maybe if he can get us the quotes fairly soon, we can still make a more accurate adjustment to the budget.
We gotta have something we can give to the, finance committee here shortly,
Right.
so we
Right.
have to plug some numbers in
Yeah.
here, realistic numbers, so we don't have to go back.
And I'm almost sure that Adam or Will has at least one or 2 bids in writing,
Okay.
okay.
but I just haven't seen them.
Yeah.
Because they were talking about doing down, the pile down there
Yeah.
this spring.
So maybe
Maybe we'll do it
everything
at
could
once.
get done at once, yep. Okay,
And they took into consideration what was up to the transfer station.
They did.
oh, okay.
Oh, good, so that
Okay,
helps.
so we're gonna add another line for now of how much?
So 10?
Go 10?
Yep, we don't use it, we don't use it, right?
Well, I mean, we're already kind of figuring there's already a $3,000 thing, roughly, because that's what they kind of figured before.
And the road guys, they may know when they come in a little later on, you know, what I mean, what, based on the
shop
quotes
it.
they've gotten, so we'll put it at
Or if someone
10.
remembers that.
We'll ask them.
Okay,
Okay.
so new line. And we'll figure it at 10 for now.
Perfect. Anything else, Jeff?
No, I think that's it, pretty much.
Thank you very much. Send Jason in. All right, so we ready to move on, David?
Yep.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Okay, next on board, we are Code Enforcement Planning Board.
All right, he's gonna be where, Michelle?
Page 3, under general, and he's in the book under the general government. It basically, it's just the same thing on page 3.
Good afternoon, Jason.
How you guys doing? I didn't realize I was gonna be on camera. I thought we were just having a conversation.
It's getting real now.
Why you left the room and came back?
Surprise!
No idea, I'll be sitting there.
Yeah, that's why he went and did his hair, because I saw you. so.
No, I was listening to voicemails.
It wouldn't be any fun without an audience, Dennis.
All All right, so, you have a copy of your budget?
I do.
Down through it, so the, same thing with the salaries, we really don't need to spend a whole lot of time on those, because all department heads, I think, put the 3% in, waiting for your instruction. Is the support staff a little more than 3%, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay.
Did we get numbers on like 0.5% and that too?
Yep, she emailed them to you.
Okay.
But we can go over them in the end.
Yep.
Show you what the
Yep.
grand total is. So and do you by chance have a listing of the hourly rate, currently hourly rates that you gave out yesterday?
Is that that packet of stuff you just gave us?
Right here. I got one too.
All right, so the, land use position is currently at 16, and they're recommending that it go up to 18, so that's a support staff increase that we talked about, so that goes from 16 to 18 on that one.
And I want to point out, before we get deep into this, that we have 53 paydays in this coming fiscal year, so that is accounted.
Pay weeks?
Pay weeks.
If I'm getting paid 53 days, I'm gonna have to find a new
Well,
job.
53.
We'll get a big
You're getting
raise.
53 paychecks instead of 52 this year. So that's been accounted for in all of general government.
What page you want?
It's just a matter of how the weeks fell.
3.
Well, on 3 here, I'm just not finding the wages here. Oh, there it is, right in front of me. Here we go.
Okay, so that's, those are the current wages, and Michelle we asked her to put the years in
Land use
position.
assistant. So, land use assistant,
It's at 16, the proposal is to move her to 18.
Okay.
I got 1850 here.
No, that's
Oh,
one on
16.
top.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, next line down. Sorry about that. Like I said, I think I'm gonna have to get some readers there pretty soon.
You're getting to that point. As the rest of us have one. All right, so other than that, Jason, you wanna walk us through the budget? Increases, decreases, what you're looking for?
What I'm walking through so from line to line, you wanna know, like the deputy CEO
Or
and stuff
yeah.
like that?
He
you know?
doesn't have any increases, so.
Yeah, everything's pretty much stayed the same, to what it was last year. Salaries, I think Michelle said, as she already stated, has gone up a little bit, for cost of livings. The, deputy CEO, I still use outside, use outside sources to help me with some of the decision making, maybe not decision making, but input so that I can come to the decisions. What do we have? Office supplies? Printing.
The deputy CEO, now, obviously, he'll be the guy that comes in and
Yeah, if I had to
if
be
you
off.
say you go on vacay or something like that, I'm sure you're gonna have a couple weeks of vacation here.
Yeah.
You know, this will cover that, and still, if you need him for something else.
Well, yeah, so what I do right now, I currently, if I have a project that comes in that needs a second set of eyes, or even just looking at some of the land uses where I'm trying to familiarize myself with some of the stuff, I'll bring it to him or have him, somebody else come in and review it with me, just so to make sure I'm not missing anything. And getting myself in any kind of trouble, so,
Yeah.
I do use that, and obviously I pay for that, I pay that person for his time.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing, it's a good,
So, that's where that deputy CEO comes in, and I'll just, like you stated, if I had to be on vacation and somebody had to be here to
I
cover.
was just making sure, you know,
it's enough.
it's only $2,500, I just wanted to make sure that, you know, each one of these lines that we're covered, because we don't want to go over any of those, and
I think he leans more, not to take anything away from the deputy CEO position, but the planner position,
As I
it's got
said,
a
do you use some
21,000.
more?
Oh, 21.
That is more of just as much support, if not more.
Yeah, and I use them, and so for right now, even with our ordinances, we're using that contract service to help us. You know, we had some big ones this year with the proposed solar array, the amendments with that one, so he spent a lot of time doing that. Something that I just felt better with somebody that dealt with this a lot more doing than just with my planning board and as well as the land use office, so.
And is the mileage, does that go up again, Michelle? Did I see that? What time of year does that change?
January 1st.
I mean, this budget's fairly, I mean, without him being in the position for a solid year, you know, really getting his feet wet, I mean, this
Right.
should support him,
right now, like mileage is down right now, and one of the biggest things is because a lot of the mileage is for your continuing education, and everything right now, for the most part, has been Zoom.
Online.
You haven't had to go anywhere, but there are a lot of things happening this spring that are now, you have to drive to.
Well, I just went to Wells last week for some training, so.
Your mileage around here does, I mean, it takes
No.
forever to put some miles on, driving
Yeah.
around here doing inspections, so.
And I'm hoping that they're gonna start opening up a lot more. They've been talking a lot more of doing in-person trainings, so, you know, but there was one for energy, but it was all the way in Ellsworth, and I'm gonna wait for something more local. So then you got the planner, membership, train,
We got the boat meetings on here. What's
advertising.
up with the boat?
That's
That's at Mishu's?
at Mishu's right now, so I'm assuming that's equipment and maintenance and stuff like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, we haven't talked about it in so long, I was
He's
just
gonna
gonna
use
have
it
an
this
idea
year.
where it was.
I used it, I took it out last year. Last year was really busy for me, just trying to get a handle on everything around here, so I really didn't have the time to get out and use it. I took it out for afternoon just to run the old gas through it. And then pretty much put it away. So hopefully next year, I'll be able to utilize that service a little bit better and,
So the 3790, that's for the service and the storage?
Yes.
Gas,
It's repeat
registration.
gas,
Yeah, okay.
insurance.
All right,
You good?
all right. I'm
As
good.
long as you're good with it, sir, I'm good with it.
Yeah, and I think, well, I'll know better, next year this time than I am right now, obviously. Like Jen stated, I've only got so much time in here, but,
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
I can go back to work.
You can go back to work, sir, thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Send the road commissioners in from home.
Both of them?
Okay, 2:30, are we on schedule here or
We're
what?
on schedule.
There we go.
Perfect, 2:30.
Imagine.
All right, where's the road? Where's the road,
Roads.
guys? Fine.
They're, standing in the hallway.
Oh, no, I meant on my paperwork. I got it. I found it.
On page 6.
Yes.
Gentlemen,
Howdy.
Welcome.
Blue. 6.
while you're getting to page 6, I want to thank Will for taking care of the Christmas tree yesterday. I'm sorry that I missed seeing him drag it down Sanborn Road as he indicated that he did, but I wish I would have seen that, but he took care of the tree.
Well, I see part of it out here,
I
so
said, how did you get the tree down? He's like, I hooked it to a chain and drove it and drug it down the road. I'd just like to see them
My
go
goats are
across the
enjoying it.
intersection. Huh?
Yes, goats
Brought
like
it
that.
home for my goats.
Oh, you did?
Well, part of it.
Yeah. 'cause
They like it.
Bits and pieces, that's
They do,
awesome.
they love it.
Did we get the lights off it?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
The goats will eat those too. Yes, they will.
Okay, so we're on page 6.
all right, so we're on page 6 and 7, right?
Yeah.
They have this. Road guys.
You have a copy of the equipment, right? Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's just start right off to the top. Talk about the labor increases.
Well,
That's
this,
the first line.
yeah, that's neither here nor there. I put those numbers in there based
Oh,
on what they use.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah, the increase is $10,000 for winter, 25 for summer, and 50 for,
Paving,
Paving.
paving.
on both sides.
So say it again, 10,000 for winter, 25 for summer,
And 50.
for paving. And the rate increases that they requested are incorporated into those numbers?
Correct.
so how much does that bring the budget up?
So like some of them we left, like you said, left them.
Exactly.
Did Chris write that?
Chris
write that?
So we're looking for
Yeah, I think so.
50 more in surfacing too.
So we're gonna be bumping the paving, what you guys are looking for is a $50,000, so that'll give you a $250.
Yep.
which will be be 500 for the both of you. I don't see in here, what have we got left right now in paving?
I have, I think it's about either 70, I think it's about 78. I have left.
I have 93 or 4, I think it is, and they were supposed to do county, but because due to
Oh, yeah.
COVID, that would have been,
Yeah, I
I would have had
remember
pretty much 0.
Are they planning on doing that this spring?
I haven't decided, because I would like to do more of county, so I hate to do a little bit and then another little bit. I was hoping to do a lot more, if we got the proper budgets.
So you want to do the entire thing?
Well, I'll be able to do 3,000 feet. I was gonna do just 1,000 feet of it originally, because with the budget I had, because the road needs to be milled, we gotta grind it.
Yeah.
And I was hoping to do 3,000, well, I priced out with them, I think 5,000 feet. And, but it was just way too much. So I figured if I go down to 3,000, I can probably in 3 years, I can get the whole thing done.
So what's it gonna cost you the whole road?
I'd have to look into it, exactly.
So the 250 plus the 90 you've got, which would be 340, is that right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, 340.
Yep.
You must have other projects then.
Yes, I was hoping to pave, my paving budget was 309, about 310. I was gonna do Young's Ridge from the vet to the top of the hill,
Yeah.
Peacock and Point Road. Because the ruts are getting real bad in there.
Yeah. Okay.
And on my paving, I guess my biggest concern right now is, you know, everything that's going on in the H Road. I'd like to start to take a section and, I mean, when we had all the meetings about the moratoriums, and everything like that, that seems like the biggest issue is the width of the road and everything like that, so, when we met with our paving guys, they kind of threw some numbers around of like 11-foot lanes possibly, and even 12-foot lanes, so I think that's what we're probably gonna push for. I'd like to see 12-foot lanes, but,
22, yeah, it gives you 11, gives you enough room. At that point, you stop being able to make it so you can actually put yellow lines if you wear.
well, that's what I think, I think that was the other concern, people, you know, with the trucks and everything, I think that's the avenue we're gonna have to head for here.
Now, so that's your main project.
I'd like to take a good chunk of it and do it this year, and if not, I have a second, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do the H Road, then I'm gonna pave the Hawk Road this year too.
Now, what about, I see West Shore Drive on here.
I was gonna do something on West Shore Drive, but,
That's in really bad
oh,
shape.
I know.
I just dropped off a machine here the other day. I went, hey. So,
I'd like to do at least the first half of, West Shore Drive.
so what section of H Road are you talking about?
I'm probably gonna go right from where I stopped paving 2 years ago, and go right up over the hill by the dump, right down over the back, out over the back stairs and go to Lakeside Drive. If I can go a little bit farther, I'll go a little bit farther.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it real bad up in there, or is it just that you wanna widen it?
It's getting rough in there, that section is, and then even this section
Yeah,
out
it's
here.
been a while
starting
since
to
I've been.
get pretty, this section here, right in front of the town hall, up to the campground, is is starting to break up pretty good, and that section on, from where I stopped paving to Lakeside Drive is breaking up pretty good.
I know West Shore Drive,
I would, yeah,
that's in really, really bad shape.
that should be a
I don't
priority.
wanna tell you to do your job or anything, but this road's in a lot better shape than that one.
I know,
I mean, I'm just saying,
I just,
before that one gets too bad, there's a point where you're gonna have to grind and mill, and that's a big project down there, because I mean, that's so narrow and everything else.
I'm just trying to juggle it as, you know, all the meetings we had, all the people that got up, all they do is come, you know, the biggest topic I think came up was the H Road, so.
Well, we understand that,
Oh, no.
you know, but at the end of the day, it's our job as a select board to, you know, if we got an issue on H Road that has to be addressed super bad, you know, that they come to us with that. Your job is to look at the road that's in the worst condition and fix it. And that one's in really bad condition. So, I mean, you prioritize as you feel.
No, I think, no, the section on West Shore Drive from right after the big culvert to about Willow Street, that's real bad in there, and I think our best bet would to be shim and overlaying it, because we talked about grinding it, but all the houses right there, I mean, that'd be.
A shim and overlay on that road will get you by for quite some time, and you know, I mean, that's why I'm looking at it going, well, you know, yeah, I see 104,000, that was only gonna get you where?
It's Willow Street.
Okay, 'cause I thought you said you were gonna pave from.
No, yeah, I was thinking about it, but I think we're doing two like you said, do the worst section, because the first half's got some, potholes in it, but it's not horrible yet, so.
I know the biggest frustration I had when I was road commissioner was, I felt I was doing little pieces, kinda like what you were just saying, I don't
Right.
wanna do a little section, I wanna do a lot, and, like I said, I don't wanna tell you to do your job, but, that road is in that bad a shape that, instead of doing a little section, doing a big section in there and get it done.
That
'Cause
should
you
be
got
a
the money to
priority.
do
I
it.
mean, maybe that should be a priority, and then, as far as H Road, because you do want to widen it and stuff, maybe that's something you,
That's a big project.
right, and maybe that's a special, or,
Well, I mean, we're getting
or I
these
don't know.
guys, he's gonna have, what, $300 and some $1,000. I mean, for that kind of money, you can almost do all of West Shore Drive, shim and overlay. Instead of breaking the projects up in little ones, get one big one done, and then we move on to the big project on H Road. Just something to think about.
No.
Because you guys have a lot of money here to spend, because like, what you say, you got 70,000
Do my paving now.
in the paving now, you got 250, you don't plan on spending the 70,000 before June?
No, I'd like to
July
take it
1st.
and-
So you're gonna have roughly $320,000, roughly, is that right? Yeah, something like that. You're gonna get a lot done for that. But just food for thought. Question I had, okay, what else we got here? So you got some, Hawk Road project.
Yeah,
And that's just paving to where?
just after Kamari's house, right
Yeah.
in there, there's that section right there.
I guess, I think before you do that project, you might wanna try to get an idea of where we're supposed to go. I know there is a discrepancy on where.
Well, I was thinking about having it maybe even surveyed.
Corner post or something like that, or I mean.
Because if you look on the map, you have like Hawk Road, and it says like the private comes, like right where the Camaries live, and there's that little road that says it's private right there, but we've been plowing around the corner.
Yeah, we've always done that, and come to find out, I guess we're not supposed to be, but that's the only place we can turn around, so, okay, and your project was?
Young's Ridge.
County and Young's Ridge,
Yep, Point and Peacock.
and when I just said, Will here, whether or not that makes sense to you, whether or not just complete doing a road, does that make any sense to you?
No, absolutely, I don't disagree.
I mean, I don't know, I just, like I said, when I was road commissioner, it was so frustrating when I couldn't finish the road. Then you end up on another road and you never get back to the rest of that road.
Right.
And it just, that's what I like to see, is I wanna see roads done. When you got $300,000 some dollars, do the road and get on to the next one, if that works for you guys.
Right. Well, I figured, I think you paved the top of the hill and let Young's Ridge
The
down.
only section I didn't pave was a piece on Buzzell from that, where I did redid the corner and up over by Andy's.
Yeah, so that's what I want to at least get that done, because that's failing. I mean, Buzzell's failing,
You
but
grinding that?
yes.
Yeah.
That, and they said, I had, Frank Carroll looked at them all, and he said, Peacock, he goes, that's so bad. He goes, if we shim it overlay, it's just gonna break apart.
Oh, no, that's garbage up in there.
It's all garbage, and so if we get all that, it's not short roads, I can get those done.
Are you
I won't
doing
have to-
Point also?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's real bad too. Trying to sweep that last year was tough.
Yeah, okay.
So grind all those, everything on here will be getting rid of the pavement, starting fresh.
For the paving?
not really,
I don't have an issue with the $50,000 increase on the paving.
Okay.
Let's see, the $10,000 on winter budget, how are we doing on winter budget right now?
We looked the other day, it was like at 77% spent, so
So we're on track to be where we need to be. Was there any
I
reason
guess, well, I
why?
think it's because we went up on the rates, and we didn't, we're just wondering if because like if the 10-wheeler went up, we went up on the 10-wheeler, so we didn't wanna,
I got questions about that, but, so you did the 10,000 due to the increase on.
Equipment.
So you did, what was the average increase on the, equipment?
Average about $5.
So what's the percentage?
Depends on, probably on the piece of equipment.
All different equipment, but, so basically your rate is,
Well, what I'm trying to get to is, did you increase the amount on the wintertime budget enough to compensate for the increase on the other side of it? Because we have what, a 30% increase on wages on you guys, correct? Roughly, and then you have some you know, laborers and everything else, there's quite a bit of increase in here. $10,000 is not a lot of money.
Right.
So that's why I'm trying to figure out numbers-wise, whether or not that works. The wintertime budget, I was always against going up on wintertime budget because we have our 15% anyways. And if we're right now at, we got 30%, 23% still left in the budget and we're in March, theoretically next.
Need to go up, do we?
So it's really not necessary to do that. I mean, I'd rather see the money put somewhere else and then put into a number which is, we've always called fictitious, right?
Right.
Because we haven't even hit like our, because we're like, what, 15% over anyway?
Well, that's it, that's why I said increase in the wintertime number, which has already been increased a couple times in the last 4 years.
Right.
To increase it again doesn't make any sense when you're not even near the number now.
Right.
So, what do you think about that?
I don't think it's needed where we are allowed to go over 15%.
Okay.
You know, and
So there's enough there,
Next year,
there's enough there even with their salary and truck increases?
I mean,
The proposed?
it's winter, it all depends on the year.
Yeah.
right,
I mean, every's different. I mean, I think last year we did, I don't know where we ended up last year.
Had a surplus last year, I would think.
Yep.
yeah.
Huge one, because there was no snow last year, to
Yeah.
speak of, you know. So I mean, is that, so is this not necessary?
No. No, it's
So
just
you
a
were
thought.
trying to accommodate the others?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
It's next.
Now on the rates, well, first of all, I guess before we get to the rates, we've got parking lot, tear down, old fire station, reclaim and regrade parking lot. This is you, Will, right?
Yeah, and, so on this price here, they ended up, I went on Google Earth and because I brought out the square footage, well, they did the whole entire parking lot, I mean, the church up here, so are we even gonna touch that, or we just?
No.
So, I mean, so in theory now, we're probably gonna have a little bit more money, because that's to do the whole entire parking lot, that's everything. That $75,000 to reclaim and pave the parking lot, that was to do the entire parking lot, like up here by the church and everything.
Tear down the old fire station also?
Well, no, that's just the paving, then I did tear down the building was 15,000.
Well, no, you have it down here, tear down old fire station, reclaim and regrade parking lot. Then down here, you have tear down.
Well, no, that's what, like, I just put that in as like, you know, what I was gonna.
Oh, okay,
like
okay. Okay, 'cause that was confusing the hell out of me.
So we have $75,000 in that fund right now. This, based on these numbers, would require an extra $46,000 this year.
We haven't even figured out what we're doing with that yet.
Well, I was,
It's on the agenda tomorrow night.
Yeah, 'cause- so we need another, would you say like 40?
Well, he's gonna
46.
present a presentation to you
All right,
tomorrow night
good.
about how he came up, I mean, you kind of wanted.
Well, I mean, I understand the presentation and all that's great and all that, but we still haven't, remember, we were talking about having, some workshops and this and that, trying to
Right.
figure out what we're gonna do with it before we actually go
Right,
and do
but the
it.
first thing you guys told me to do was have him put something together and then you take it from
We're not
there.
even sure we're tearing it down yet. So,
But, you know, we'll see. Yeah, we're gonna make a decision,
yeah, we're gonna have to do that.
make a decision.
So that would be, you got 75,878 for that, and then you had the 15,000 for the tear down and removal. And then we got, what's this here? Tear up old hot tub.
where's that was the other thing, I will probably touch on tomorrow night, was, you know, what do we wanna do with the lip out here, you know, the lip? What do you want, we're gonna fill that in and make it all?
Well, that's the problem.
So I kinda just threw in a, you know, a rough,
Well, I know, and it's tough to do an estimate on something when we don't know what we're doing yet. That's why we probably, at this point in time,
should we hold off like another year or something?
I don't know what we're doing here yet.
I mean, I don't
Wait
think,
till the insurance company comes here.
Well, no, we have to tear it down. No, I understand that.
I think we're gonna have to tear
If we
it
tear it down, that's one thing, but what we're doing with the rest of it, we haven't figured out yet.
Right.
So, I understand the
I would think
$15,000 to tear it down.
if we're gonna tear it down, we should fix the hump. I mean, I'm
Is
just
it possible,
saying, all that needs to be fixed.
as we have these, we keep it on the agenda the next few weeks, that you guys have ideas of what you want to do with it, that we might be able to come up with some sort of,
I have no, well, we talked about having some meetings and going over what our plans was doing with that building. Now, I do agree, it's gonna come down. We just have to understand why we have this money and what we're gonna do with it after the fact. And we haven't gone to anybody yet and said, okay, this is our plan, we're gonna turn this into a parking lot, or whatever. So, I have no problem if, as long as there's some sort of idea of what we're gonna do, if we wanna put this in a reserve for right now, that we can pull later.
Because we already
Is
have,
that what we're looking to do with this money?
Yeah, so we have $75,000 in a carry forward fund, in a reserve. And this total proposal here on this piece of paper that
Yeah.
Will submitted would require another $46,000 to be added to that fund.
So it's just,
46,000 out of this amount of money.
Right, so that's the whole total.
Yeah, okay.
On top of the 75.
I've already,
Okay, so we've already got the 75. Okay, I thought you were asking for an
No.
additional 75, so
so the
that's
idea,
what the
right,
confusion is.
the idea is that to move this difference of the 46,000 forward, but over these next month or two, keep it on the agenda and let's start making a plan so that we can get going on it this summer.
Yeah, okay, I understand.
that makes sense.
Okay, well, it was nothing here saying, or, in this account, blah, 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 so,
And even if we go ahead, I still think there's gonna be probably money left anyway, because they gave us a price to do the entire package.
you know how that works
I
at the
know,
end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, better to have a little, okay, so, you got any questions on that?
No, we're good there.
Wages, so, I guess we'll start with, the road commissioner waves. You're asking for a how many dollar an hour raise?
Number are we in?
10.
Yeah.
$10 an hour raise. Why does it say plus 5 here?
That was a goof up, I think.
Okay, yeah, I know it used to be 30, and I'm like,
It's 104.
105.10.
And she gave you the state rates that you asked for?
where are they? I gotta get my stuff discombobulated all over the place here.
So the first column is the state rate, second column is plus 15. I just grabbed this from Shapley.
Yep. So right now, the state rate, is at $29.70, which you guys are making 30 now. And at 15%, it would be, $34.16. So where do you guys come up with your, the $10 an hour increase?
We figured, we'd like to get some type of a raise, so we figured we'd shoot high and then hopefully we can meet somewhere.
Yep. So I have some ideas, the $10 an hour, I think even Tom, we're, kinda drastic. So what the problem we're having is, and I don't wanna speak for Kim, I don't know if you're on the same page as me, but
Yeah,
what I'm looking at is,
all at once, yeah.
we're trying to get everybody where they need to be.
Yes.
And we don't want to, I don't think, given say a 30% raise, or it's actually more than that, I think. Yeah, it's more, what kind of, what is that? Right off the top of your head, I can do it on my calculator here, but, no, that's a 30% raise. That's a 30% raise, yeah. So, and I myself, I would like to see everything across the board, everybody
I want
get,
everybody to be able to get something this year.
because of the inflation rate is, between 5, 8, 6%, something like that, they're throwing those numbers around, right?
Yes.
I'm looking at, I myself, and I like to see a 7% across the board. But,
Then give them 1%.
at this rate here, at 15% raise it right now, you would be at 34.16, the same as Shapley. And, does that,
7% across the board, is that what you said?
I like to see a 7% across the board.
That's gonna give them, Michelle says, about $2.
That would give them at 32, whatever. Okay? I don't wanna aim low on either. So, we're just trying to keep it even. We wanna make sure everybody's on the same board and nobody's more important than the next person.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, has the road commissioner got their first time $30 at 2017?
Yeah.
So it's been 5 years since they've
Yeah.
gotten a raise.
And the thing is when we did that in 2017, I was road commissioner then, right?
No.
When we went to 30, I was road commissioner because I was making 30.
Yeah.
So it was before that. So, but what what we should be doing is, we get the road commissioners, we look at the state rate, we have 34.16, that's at Shapley's rate at 15%. We get everybody on this, because we're not doing merit.
Right.
We don't do merit, right? We're not doing merit raises, we don't typically do merit. What we're doing here is, this is a merit raise, because when you're giving a $10 an hour increase, there's gotta be a reason why we're giving a $10 increase. You know, classes, experience and all that. So,
And we are gonna put an emphasis on classes and get into classes, you know, we should, you know, things need to be done and stuff in a kind of timely manner. I know you guys get busy, I know you're busy and stuff, but,
where do you guys feel, looking at the state rate and at what you're asking, would be fair right now?
I mean,
Because I just don't think there's enough, the consensus of that, I don't think there's enough here to say that we can give you the $10
No,
raise right
understandable.
now.
I think like, well,
I
what'd
mean,
you
if we
say?
could match Shapley would be great.
Okay, yeah, and if we did the 7% across the board, that would be a $2 increase compared to what we're proposing.
Right, so that's not gonna match them to Shapley.
What's that?
He's saying that if you match them to
Exactly.
Shapley, right, so the 7%'s not gonna do
It'd
that.
be a $2, it would be a $2 difference, and
Right, but what he's saying is 34.16 is Shapley's.
yes. And I'm saying if we only gave them 7%, we'd be a $2 difference.
In Shapley, I see what you're saying.
So,
maybe we should start with that, and then next
Start
year,
with
well, like you said, you know, 7%, and look at it again next year, instead of taking this huge, you know, all at once. I guess is, you know, because they're not the only ones that are gonna be needing these.
what we're trying to do is, if we do, say we do a 14% or 15%, which would roughly be a 15% raise to get you to Shapley, then you're, you know, we're not sticking with that threshold that we like to be at the 7%. You know what I mean, with everybody. So you,
Across the board, we wanna try to give everybody.
So you think we would to like Shapley, do you think it'd be too much, like 32
well,
bed?
that the problem is, if we go by state rate and then do the 15%, you know, we would be doing roughly a 15% raise for you right now.
So what about we start at 32?
That's what,
That's what I'm talking about.
that's
That's
what I
what we're
mean,
talking
yeah.
about.
you know, and then the same thing, you know, next year we can relook at it again and, you know, maybe go up another couple dollars instead of, you know, all at once.
Yeah, as long as you get a consistent looking at
That's
it
what we're
every
trying to
year
get to.
instead of,
Trying to yearly,
Because when-
look at percentage.
When we went from, I think I think it
it was
was 22 or 24, I think it was 24, and then we made the jump to 30.
Right.
That was a $6 increase, because there was,
It's been a long time since
Yeah.
that had been raised then.
Yeah.
That was my first year here, and, you know, so I would like to see it, you know, every year you get, you know, increases.
and it makes it easier on the budgeting too. You know that your
Right, not
increase is
going-
gonna be, because if the inflation rate goes down, let's say 3%, then there's a 3% raise, boom, 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 boom. Okay, anything else on that? So the 32, what would that be, Michelle? The 7% of the 30 would be what?
Is it 7%?
Yeah.
Yeah.
3210. I love those.
Are you fine with that, guys? Is that?
3210.
That's more than fair for now.
Okay, we just, yep. Okay, now I'll go down through, where's your flagger in here?
it's top
One right under the,
equipment operator.
Yeah, because we incorporated everything in
I don't see it.
those couple of years ago.
So labor with no equipment, that would be the flagger.
Yeah, that-
Okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. 22, it was what?
It was 18.
Okay, yep.
And the state's got 1850 here, then Shapley's 21, 28, so,
28, 28,
So what's-
21, 28?
yeah.
So it's close.
So what's 7% of that? Of
Well,
the state, I guess.
that's one of the ones that, and I don't wanna cherry pick out which ones should be getting whatever.
Right, I thought we were
but
gonna try to do it across the board.
We were, but I don't, they were way underpaid in the first place.
Okay, all right, and
Because
that's
the problem you
fine,
have
as long
is-
as they're, you know, it's, okay,
Yeah, that was one of the ones I wanted to question, because,
pull it up, yeah.
you know, the thing is with the flaggers, you have to have your
28.
certifications, and you guys are having to pay, they're paying their, social security and all that stuff out of that wage.
When I'll put it like last summer, I had like between my brother and another guy, I mean, every time they labored for the town, I mean, I pay them more than $18 an hour,
Yeah.
so like I'm losing money having them labor pretty much.
I understand how that
I'm not
works.
putting it out there like that, but I'm just,
Yeah.
that's real life.
Yeah, you take a loss here, but you make it up somewhere else.
Oh, yeah, no, exactly, so.
We
But
wanna go up to on that.
22 is what they want, and it was 18, so,
21.
I mean, that was one of the ones where I got a couple in this book there that I think that we have to make other adjustments because the 7% doesn't bring them where they need to be.
All right.
And this one here brings us pretty much to where the state rate and the town of Shapley roughly runs, so with the 15%, I have no issues with that one there. Now the backhoes, you went up, you didn't go up there, let's see, loader rate, I see a 69 is a $5 increase. I see a $1 increase in the stockpile account. Justification for that.
Just, I don't know, at the end of the day, started looking at the numbers, I mean, it's not a ton, I mean,
Yeah. No, I understand.
you know, the 250, it adds up a little bit, but at the same time, you know, keeping up with the stuff, it's getting more and more expensive to own this stuff.
Just trying to justify it.
Yep.
And, grader, there's no increase on that. So I guess, okay, well, do you have any questions with anything down to the winter?
Just gonna look.
I see an increase, let's see, the excavators, $5 an hour. Where's one? Skid steer. We added, so the attachment was, 12, is that correct?
Yeah, it was 12, yeah.
Yep. I don't went too far out of here yet.
It's okay.
Like this is like our range, well, this is
So-
like your borders in here.
On the, something kind of catches my eye here. So, the two-wheel drive, 26,000 GVW is at 99.78. But if you go down to 10-wheeler, okay, it's only, 20-some cents difference between the six-wheeler and the...
And that brought it up quite a bit,
That doesn't make any sense, though.
because it was below, yeah, that originally it was 91, the 10-wheeler. So the 10-wheeler's always been lower than the other trucks.
Yeah, I understand.
And I didn't understand it, so we're trying to figure out the best scenario if we wanted to bring that up the most, to get it where it should be.
So, yeah, definitely, but it sounds to me like you brought up the 10-wheeler 9, and then you brought up the 6-wheeler 5. It didn't really make a difference.
Too much of a difference, at least it wasn't underneath.
Yeah, so, and these rates were increased, what, 2 years ago, right, correct?
And 2 is,
2 years ago. And then you added, $5 an hour for, let's see here. So you're getting 5 for the wing, but you added $5 an hour for the, contract sander, which is essentially a raise to that truck on top of that. So that would be a $10 an hour increase on that truck wage there. And the contract owned sander, 6-yard, is getting the same price, same price for that sander as it does a 12-yard.
Yeah, because it's 6 to 12 yard is the,
Yeah, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. You would think a 12-yard sander is double the money as a 6-yard sander, right?
well, we only went off of that because that's how it's always,
Well, it doesn't mean we can't adjust it to make it right.
no.
right.
So,
So what do you think, like a over 12 yard sander should be its own rate?
well, I would think that there would be, I could see leaving the 6-yard sander at the 15 and then, the other one, would obviously get at least a $5 increase on top of that, I would think, one way or another. I don't want to decrease the number, but at the same time, you made a $5 increase here on the truck. Well, you made a $9 increase on this one, which is more like it, because it's kind of where it should be, but that truck's making as much as that truck, the numbers don't jive. And then you turn around and add another $5 an hour on top of that, and then another $5 for the wing, that number is deceiving. So, myself, I would rather not make the increase on the 6-wheeler, make the increase on the 10-wheeler to make it right. You know what I mean? Does that make sense to you?
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So, to go back to the original, GVW, the 2-wheel drive at the original price, and then continue with the $9 increase for the 10-wheeler, that makes it look like there's an actual difference in that line item.
Yeah.
So you want to bring the 6-wheeler back to what it was?
Back to what it was, because you added, you increased the standard $5 already. So you're actually getting a $5 an hour increase on that plow truck already. So you'd actually have been making a $10 an hour increase on that truck, correct?
So, that one, right?
So we get rid of the 5 there, leave the 9 for the 10-wheeler, that gets it kinda, so, and,
Is it feasible?
what's that?
But I'm just looking at, the prices, how they went up and stuff, and I'm just wondering what it's gonna be in the budget, and that's all.
Well, their budget, on the road side of it, did we make an increase on the summertime?
That's what I was.
Yes.
So that is 25, okay, so there is money, this takes care of the increases on that side of it. So, do you have any questions on the, let's see, the 1 ton, so the 1 ton was making 70?
Yes.
Up to 12, and then the other one is up to 80. A $5 an hour increase on that, I understand that. Those F-550s cost $70,000, $80,000, so I can understand that. Other than that, I don't think there's any other questions on top of my head.
Do you want to have a separate line for the 12-yard sander?
I really think it really should be.
Ask that.
What's that?
I was just gonna ask if we were gonna make it a different line.
So the sander right now, 6-yard sander was getting 10, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, it's 6 to 12 is how it's worded.
Okay, so why don't we leave the 6-yard sander at 10 and then give 15 for the 12? Does that work?
That's fine.
So there's at least a discrepancy
makes-
there.
yeah.
between the two.
Yes, 12 yard and then 6. So anything below 12 yard, between 6 and 12 will stay at the 10 and then 12 and up.
Yeah, theoretically, most of them are 6-yard.
Right.
And then the distinction between 6 and 12 is usually 12.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we'll do is leave the 6-yard, we'll cross that out and go with that at 10, and then the 12 will be 15.
I wanted to point out that diesel prices are $4.09 today.
Yep. I did, we had a meeting last night with the finance committee, and took it upon myself to give some of my views on that, on the bottom line here, where the dollar per hour increase, 25 cent per gallon, whatever, I just don't think that's enough. Especially in the wintertime, these guys are sucking a lot of fuel. Summertime, not so much, but I think wintertime itself, when I was road commissioner, went to $4.30 a gallon, I think in 2012, roughly. Obama was president, so yeah. Okay, and, I got a $1 increase on my truck because it hit 4.30, and I wasn't covering the fuel costs at all.
No.
And we were taking it pretty hard. Granted, my wages weren't nowhere as near as large as this either, but, I think that we have to with the experience I had with that, it wasn't enough, and whether or not we could come up with some sort of different formula to make the compensation, if it gets to $5 a gallon, these guys are gonna be losing money at that rate.
Absolutely, yeah.
So.
Back to us with something that,
There's nothing saying it's not gonna be $5 a gallon by.
Yeah, I mean-
Next December.
Your truck running for an hour, what does it burn through for gallons?
5 to 6 gallons an hour.
Yeah, Mass State rates, when I was down there, they paid our fuel, and a six-wheeler, they figured anywhere 6 to 8 gallons an hour. You know, I'm chewing through, this last storm, I chewed through about $300 worth of fuel in my six-wheeler.
Yeah, so, so every 25 cent, I'm just trying to wing this right now, I should have more calculating, but it says, we'll pay an additional $1 per hour for each 25-cent increase in fuel. If we take that number of $1, increase that to say 3, with that a $3 increase every 25 cent, what would that be if it turned into $5 though? And before we get excited, guys. So.
Say that again?
So, okay, so if it hit $5 a gallon,
Yep.
which would be over, say it was $4 a gallon, that would be 25. Be 8, so
70.
8 times, it'd be an $8 increase in wage. Right, is that right? If it was at $4 a gallon, it'd be $8, correct? So,
5 it would be. Definitely gonna have to go up. We're definitely gonna.
I'm not saying $5 an hour, but, if we do at least a $2 an
I was gonna say,
hour,
what about 2?
double in that rate.
Double it.
That would, I would think that would,
Help.
Yep.
And they've got, and then we've gone up.
yeah.
Hopefully it'll start going back down
So we
by
change
next
that
year.
line item from $1 an hour to 2 for every 25-cent increase. So I'm just doing worst case scenario, 5, so that would give you $16, right? Are you all set with that, Kim?
I am.
You guys? Yes. And we're still okay, and that's all boonies. Anything else we have?
I think we're good.
I think we went over pretty much the projects. I see this and that. Everything here is fine with me. Sorry about beating you up, guys.
No, that's what we're here for.
I think we're all set with these guys.
I'm going to,
Sorry about taking so much of your time.
No problem, appreciate your time.
You looked out, it didn't snow today.
Yeah, worked out. All right, we've got rec, which was 3, the fire chief is in the hallway.
Yep, okay, well, we'll get Lori right up here.
Sorry, go Katrina. Here, take my phone, go Katrina, find something on TV.
Page 12 on the packet, and should be close to the back of your book.
I don't even know if I have a pen.
There it is. Okay, where am I? Yeah, it's in here somewhere. Yeah, there we go.
Do you want to go through her, regular budget first before the additional request?
Yeah, let's go through the regular budget.
just look at this.
Where are we, page 12?
All right, Lori, so, let's walk through the, sports as you have them, just kind of go through them and talk about increases primarily.
Sure. You want me to? Okay, so soccer portable, toilets, we did not have last year. We had them at $70 and she's estimating them at $85 a month this year. And we only had them for 1 month, in our budget last year per season. So that's the increase on that. Uniforms for soccer, we had that dilemma that we could not find the soccer uniforms.
Didn't we buy them and just buy them?
We have not purchased new, yeah. So for soccer, I have tracked down some uniforms, but it's scattered, not very many. So we really need a whole new soccer set of uniforms. We ended up using the baseball uniforms last year.
That's gonna be something when we talk about the rec director, another thing that we're gonna be able to bypass, because we can't allow that to happen again. When we had just spent a few $1,000s on soccer uniforms.
Yeah, and they
They come
disappeared.
back, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Need to
we,
be signed in and out.
we do sign them in now, and out now, yep, and we do not give them their pictures until they get their uniform at the closing ceremony, so we came up with something that has
This
been
year,
working
last
for
year was
us.
Somebody didn't bring it
Well, we don't
back.
have any of the soccer ones from last year that were
Yeah,
bought.
right.
Not last year, it was from the previous, the year before, so,
Still have 2 or 3 like baseball people that never, Carol sent me some names.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
I've gotten some of the uniforms back. Someone had some in their, in their shed. Another person had some in their shed, but it's scattered amounts, and there was no collection. No one, people used to hand them to the coaches, and, we tell the coaches, do not collect uniforms any longer. We have one person designated to pass out the uniforms and go and,
Do we have a form or anything that when they, I can't remember when I was doing it, whether or not we had a form where when you gave out a uniform that they had to put their information in.
it says right on the, registration form, I don't have one of them, that they are liable for the uniforms if they're not returned. And what we do is, we have a book, a master book with all the registrations, and when we go to, per team, and we go to the teams and pass those out and have the parents initial for them that they received them, and then when they return them, they initial to return them.
Nothing on the form saying that if you don't
It does.
return this, that you're gonna have to pay such and
Yep,
such.
it does.
But remember, but what he's asking, because I forwarded the names to the selectmen, so we had a situation last year that Carol sent us 2 or 3 names from, I want to say it was baseball, that we still never got the forms, we never got the uniforms
I
back.
think there's one more for baseball that, yeah.
So I passed them off to the liaison, maybe we've tried letters, we've called, or they just kind of,
And I have one person that still has one for soccer this past year, and one of their,
Obviously,
they were a
this is-
coach, so.
This is something we're gonna try to find when we get a director. This is.
well, right, we have to-
Certified letter, something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, but it does say it does say it on the registration form that they are liable for the uniforms, and I mean, the uniforms are they're pretty pricey, they're $20-something for a shirt, depending on
You
which
price
sport.
that out with other companies? How you?
We've been using Collins, and the reason we went back to Collins is because we're matching up what we already had for the previous year, so to go to another place at this point to get, add on to what we had, it's not, you're not gonna get the same uniforms, or you're not gonna get the same screen print and whatnot, so to get exactly what we have, we've been using Collins. I'm sure in the future, you could price it
Well,
out,
I mean,
but.
I mean, at the end of the day, if we can go say, I'll just throw some McKinney and Village, or whatever that is down there, and there's a substantial difference.
Shop around.
Yeah, you gotta shop around.
For
I mean,
sure.
Matching up is great and all that, but if we can get a uniform for $10 or $15 less, that adds up.
Sure. So, and that's another thing with a rec director.
On our list,
Keep them busy.
Yeah, give them that 20 hours a week.
start.
But for this point, we've been going with Collins because when we purchased new uniforms a couple of years ago, we had just enough per child. We've had, more kids involved, more the different sizes that we need and whatnot, so we always have to add to those uniforms some way, which this is a big one for soccer. The rest are a lot less, because it would be just add-in because of stains and, whatever reason, we needed to add more different sizes kids need, more kids playing and whatnot, so, we have a pretty good amount of kids that are playing right now, above and beyond what we had even 2 years ago, so So, hopefully it just gets bigger, so, especially with that rec director. So,
We're trying. Trying. Okay, so the overall increase on this department without
For the operational budget for the grounds and the operation is little over $9,000 increase, which is 59%. That doesn't factor in the director stipend.
and also,
Where is that increase? So without, we don't have to get into each sport individually. So
No, okay.
Where is the other 9,000 roughly? So is it just broken down a little bit between each sport or?
Or is it the ground?
and with the increase this year's budget, we were very, very frugal. And we also purchased a lot the previous year because we didn't have the sports for COVID. So this year's budget was, what, around 15? This is more of what was on par for the year before.
I don't have the previous years in
And
front of me.
the previous years were 24, 26,000, so it's, yeah, last year it was down sizable, but that was 3 people brand new people and just myself doing the budget, so.
At first glance here, if you have $500 expense in concession, you should have, in my mind, you should be breaking even in revenues, but you don't have any revenues listed for concession?
We didn't do concession because we couldn't get anyone to.
Right, this year you didn't, but for your new budget.
Oh.
There's no revenue for concession in here.
Oh, oversight.
you have a concession stand if you have no revenue for it, right?
So, yeah, we definitely, last year, for the first time, we did break even, I believe you said, was.
Yes, last year.
And we had plenty left over that if we had people that did it, we would have made a nice profit. This past year, like I said, we had just broken even, so we only got pretty much, I think, that 500 back. Had it kept going, we would have had a profit, but that's, one of those things that if you can't get people to do it, you don't know, if you can't get someone to do it, you're not gonna have it open,
If you don't have it
so.
in there, and you do find people do it, you can't do it.
Yeah, it's a catch, so.
We should put at least 500 in that revenue line, is that what you're thinking? to
Yes.
break even?
So, but what happens if
If you
you,
don't spend it,
there you
if you
go.
don't spend the 500, then you don't get the revenue and they wash out in the end.
right.
We don't wanna have to go to another line and pull money out of that line. to
Right.
I
make
think
that
it would
line.
take, yeah, so it would take a couple of sports in order to get that revenue back from, what I saw with, us doing it for one season, because we just broke even.
So if you do the first sport.
So to do a profit,
I mean, if you do the first sport, then you spend 200, I mean, you must be able to see at the end of baseball if you broke even with your 200. I mean, if you get to your third season and you're still in the negative, then maybe you don't open it for the last.
I don't think it's ever been a money maker for the concession, it was more because the kids like the, concession.
Cover your costs at least.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And like I said, we've done that and exceeded with what, that one time, but unfortunately couldn't get the people to. So I think we could make a profit on it, but I wouldn't go above and beyond whatever, the money's is, if that makes sense.
Is the grounds, is that number about the same as usual, Michelle?
Well, that's up a little.
And that's
So,
the maintenance, just the 9,050, what does that cover?
So that covers your lawn maintenance, which is just over 3,000.
It's over 3,000 now?
Just under.
Just under 2,650 for, and then,
anything else that's happening out there, when the parking lot gets graded and they have to add gravel, if they have to fill in some holes, some sinkholes out there, which happens often out there.
we need to do some major work on the baseball field.
There's sinkholes in the ball field.
Well, not sinkholes, but there's, yeah, it hasn't been touched in years, so it definitely needs some
Been like that
work.
for quite a while.
Yeah, I know Brian filled some last year and put some new seed out, but
I know why it's done that.
stumps.
Yeah.
And the electricity, as I spoke with Michelle about that,
Yes.
you could talk for that
You
one.
haven't gotten an electricity bill. I have called a few times for an electricity bill since, I mean, it's been 2 years now,
And we've never gotten a bill.
and we've never gotten a bill. I'm not calling them again, because I've put in multiple calls.
And power's running.
When you do get it, it's gonna be a big one.
Yeah, we won't have the money in the budget for it.
No, but, at this point, I mean, they can't go that far back on us because it's on record that I've called, but,
So
I
that's,
anticipate seeing one, especially if they're going, I mean, it's not being, there's not a lot of electricity coming out of there.
No.
But if you start adding things on and bathrooms and pumps and stuff like that, you know.
and it might even be higher, that was just whatever the amount was that has been in the budget for the electricity bill for ongoing.
So our,
So she has,
So that's 1,200
that's part of that, right? Okay.
for the electricity, just for electricity, yeah. And then the lights in the electric outlet, we need, we don't have any lights in the concession stand. So, I just got a quick guesstimate from our town electrician, and, he's talking, around $300 to $500 to put lights in the concession stand. And then we would like to run, a electric outlet to the other part by the well pump.
For the ice
Right now, for the ice rink, and, so.
I'm surprised they didn't run another
I know.
one at the same time.
But it's not, and that needs to be done. We got donated a, snow blower and can't use it because unless we run extension cords, and I mean, I can
Electric
imagine the
one.
person running the extension cords every time in the cold and whatnot too. And even for, radios or whatnot, so something that we would like to see done.
So the total that you're budgeting for that is
So the grounds,
That's all part of the
for,
9,050
but
that's in the regular.
I'm looking for the total without the extra projects.
24,465.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the.
But that includes, I mean, it does include a couple extra projects, it includes the electricity, you are giving them the electricity, the lights, and the water to the concession stand.
Yeah, but I'm talking, the other ones are like capital improvements, type deals. The large numbers, so, okay. And then, last year's that number was what now?
16,
The grounds?
No, the entire, and the,
Was it 20?
15,340.
okay, yeah.
and like I said, the year before was about 26,000.
Yeah, the year before, it was in the 20s, I can't recall exactly. I have the
Okay.
back on my sheet.
Yep.
Listen, so the rec director cycle, we really don't need to talk about because that's something the board's kind of taken over. So if you want to just give us a rundown of the two additional projects?
Certainly. Nope, you need to be quiet. Sorry. Yeah, if I can find it. You can't go over
The
there.
road and the second parking lot.
Yeah, so the second parking lot, let's go with that first. We have the $5,000 in the budget to do, stop. $5,000 to do, the tree removal. And actually, I talked to the, tree person, and it's, what is it? CTI Tree Service, which is one of the people that, is approved. And he'd like to start that in 2 weeks. So
you've
he
already got
believes
money for
there's,
that.
yes, there's money in that for the budget for that.
But we're
And
talking
then
about
Will
this coming-
so Will would be the person, so we believe there's enough money to cover all the tree removal. And we weren't sure if that was gonna go back into the budget too, so there might be a little bit more, but hopefully not. Will is talking close to $40,000 to finish the parking lot, which is great at bringing up to,
Now, which parking lot are you talking about now?
second park.
Second parking lot we're gonna put in.
Yeah.
And we've gone through all the ropes of making sure, we're able to put that there.
We have the land to put that there.
Well, I know,
Whether-
that's not the question I'm asking.
Zoning.
It's the DEP, the resource protection, because I know before we do this, I know there was a big deal, they were only allowed to do certain things in that parking lot. I just wanna make sure that that's been covered already.
So does she get out and talk with Jason?
I did, well, I just went downstairs actually today, and, we have enough land to do it that is nowhere near the wetland.
Okay, so it's no.
And he said that we wouldn't need a permit, he doesn't believe we would need a permit, whatever you guys, the upstairs, says that we need to do, because we're not involved with the wetlands, we're nowhere near the wetland
We would waive the
properties.
permit anyways for that, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys did your homework on that part of it, because it was a big deal. So the $40,000 is to do what now?
Second parking lot, all
To do the
Second part,
second
finishing
part, yes, yep.
Okay.
right?
Now, I see $35,000 to put a septic system and bathroom at Field.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that number?
Anywhere from 15 to 20,000 for a septic system,
But
maybe,
what-
Do you
What
have,
septic
do you have
system?
quotes? Like,
no, just pretty much going off.
I mean, I do this for a living, so I'm just trying to get an idea of how you come up with 35,000.
Yeah.
Do you have a plan for a septic system?
I do not have a plan for a
Yeah,
septic
because
system.
that number right there
Put it in
could
here?
go from
Oh, it could,
20
yeah.
to $50,000 in a hurry.
I know.
So,
But it's pretty much a starting point. We, if all we can get in is a septic system this year, then,
I'm saying you may not even have enough for that. So depending on what, what you're gonna put in for a septic. You laugh, but I do.
no, I know.
I just put a septic system in for $100,000. So, I mean.
Well, so this,
it's only for a bathroom,
it would
right?
be
That's-
only for upfront, because the reality is if we were ever to put a, building out back, it's gonna be too far away from, the septic system in order to run from one to the other.
Where's the septic going?
It would be upfront by, the best case scenario is what we've looked at in the past is, to the right-hand side of the parking lot that's there now. So when you come in, it would be on your right-hand side. Not my,
My experience down there is, if you're gonna put a septic system anyways on that right-hand side, it's all water. And it's gonna be a raised bed, it's gonna be a big deal.
well, most septic systems are raised beds unless they're dry-run, aren't they nowadays? No?
So, I would suggest that if you're gonna do this, we put money aside to get the design,
Right,
stuff like that, so we can get the ball rolling, because you don't know where it's gonna go up there. The soil design's gonna tell you where it's going.
Right, so it doesn't need to be as big of a design to house like a building and as big as what I thought we would have needed at first. We probably would need to have two separate septic systems in order to,
But you're not getting me here. The
Right.
soil
No, I
design-
understand what you're
The soil designer's
saying.
gonna tell you what you're gonna
Right.
do for a
Right.
system there. So,
this is pretty much a starting point.
okay, so this is a starting point, so why don't we do this, because it's probably not something we do right now. Why don't we figure on a number there so they can get the ball rolling and designing and stuff like that, because 35,000, I don't wanna
For
put
the
a
septic and the
$35,000 number in there if it doesn't do nothing for us.
Right, am I to understand too that the board is gonna discuss, tomorrow with these additional projects, we'll even go on there?
Okay.
Tom had some input,
Well,
so.
no, why I'm asking is, I know that we could cut it.
Right.
Or we could say, okay, we could throw a couple $1,000s in for designing.
Whatever you guys feel. In order to do anything, you need money, so, I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
Yep.
and to do it a year ahead of time, it makes it very difficult to,
Right.
project anything, and
But at least if we could,
we
put
need
some money
to
aside
start
for
somewhere, and,
get a
this
design
was in
and-
a 5-year plan 5 years ago, so.
We also, we're trying to get a director, and we'll try to figure it all out
Right.
from there. Yeah,
No, I get it,
okay,
But we do need the second parking lot.
yep, I do feel that.
definitely need.
Yeah, they've already got some of the capital
Yeah,
funds.
which is good, so that's-
Spend already, so that would be a good
Yeah,
start.
it shows here capital 20 from, yep. So, is that it?
So, Ricky's here for 3:30, so anything else from the budget that you wanna go over?
We're taking over.
Yeah, just a couple of the other, I mean, I don't know if it would be part of the budget or the articles of being able to, if we don't use something, to put back into our capital improvement, to continue with these plans for future, like we
It is
had in the
flip-flopped back
past.
and forth, so
And then, where's my-
I feel that any monies that are left in, we roll them over so the board, so the rec can continue using that money. We don't have to, especially when you got the concessions and all that stuff.
You can, but it's a good, I mean, a good conversation to have, because what we found, like with COVID, you know what I mean, we ended up spending all that money, we could have put that back, you know what I mean? It depends on the year, I mean, it's got pros and cons, and I'm not here to sell one side.
Well, I think the biggest problem we had for a while was that number got really big, and then we kept adding money to it, where
no
we could
plan.
put a cap on it.
Need a plan.
But if they have all these projects, and we agree to do these projects, then it won't be that problem, because that money will be spent. But we don't wanna keep rolling on, I think it was like $32,000 we kept rolling over and over
We also
every
want
year.
departments, I'm not saying the right, just to spend at the end of the year, just to spend it down, so they don't turn anything over, because if the tax rate stays what it is, then there's gonna come down to raises because of approving this and letting money roll back.
We always put a
Well,
cap
right.
on when we roll over.
But we also had much less in our budget this year because of what we did the prior year, because we had the money, so it's, you know, a catch both ways.
And they've always given you, you know, what
I
you
mean,
want, so I don't think it'll be a
we
problem.
were really able to keep that budget low last year, you know, with COVID because of what we purchased that, you know, yeah, exactly. So, and I'd like to see, any money raised, fundraising, concession sponsors, donations, and other that can be used during our year, 2022 year, separate from the budget, or put back into the recreational capital improvement funds.
Yeah,
We'll note it for discussion.
yep.
Okay.
So if we want to, you know, do anything above and beyond and raise money, like, I'd like to start like a pennies for playground or something like that, and, you know, be able to keep that money so we can start doing things above and beyond. So, all right, anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Who we got next? We don't have Rick next, do we? Oh, man.
Well, that's why I knew we had someone on time, Rick.
I'm sorry, but I had questions to ask.
Be out on time and.
I thought this is gonna be short and sweet with Rick.
Can we take a 5-minute break before Rick?
Oh, that'd be
I
nice.
don't know why everybody's building me up to be some,
We'll take a 5-minute break.
You got the biggest numbers here. I don't think you're the biggest numbers.
Okay.
You ready to go?
I wouldn't know what to do with 6 weeks.
Ready to hear this.
What's all this hype? I'm just here to talk about budget.
Okay,
Yeah, let's get to the budget. We ready to go?
where is Rick? There is.
Rick is page 4,
Page 4.
and he's sort of towards the front of the book. 10403.
Mr. Smith?
Isn't page 84 the length of this budget?
What's that?
Page 84 the length of this budget?
Yeah, inches.
It's not in the back.
If you want everything by receipt, yes.
Oh, sorry.
I'll itemize every Band-Aid just for you, Dennis.
I got it sidetracked. Okay, page 4.
Okay. That's that.
Good, take a deep breath there, Rick. I just go right to the bottom, that's where I go.
I don't hide it.
I know you don't.
Okay.
All right, walk us through it.
All right.
Let's do it.
Would you like, did you have a copy of my letter?
Oh, yeah.
They do.
Okay, just gonna read from that so that I reference everything. So line by line. So first line is my pay. And all I asked for was the percentage based on inflation. At the time of doing my budget, inflation was 6%. It's since gone 7% and it's getting worse, but
So you accounted for 6%?
that's what is in my budget currently,
Okay.
yeah. So all I asked for is to match inflation so I don't take a pay cut.
I don't know if you were here before we talked, but we're trying to do a complete across the board, everybody the same.
Yep.
1%.
And we can adjust that if we need
We're looking
to.
at 7.
Okay.
Right, for right now.
Yep.
We haven't made that decision yet. Yep.
Next line, I increased the supervisory wages. Supervisory wages are what we use for our officers and office staff to perform tasks that are outside of their normal daily duties. Based on some changes to the way we're operating and some of the upcoming things that will be most likely happening with inspections and things like that for safety, rental properties, commercial properties in the town, things like that. I needed to add some money in there to cover for another 10 hours per week for the deputy chief to perform their tasks, and 10 hours a week for the administrative assistant to perform their tasks. Those involve inspections, maintenance, operations, filing, computer work. Everything we do is becoming more and more, paperwork and computer-based, and so it's taking more and more time. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into keeping the fire department running, and if you want to pull my pay stubs for the last year, you'll see that I maxed my hours every week.
You try to play salesman with me?
So, I need some help, and so I'll put some money in there to,
Administrative assistant.
that's what I call her.
Okay,
Yep.
so it's
Yep, I can,
a position that the town,
I can do any of my own internal promotions according to the, ordinance. Up to chief. Those are done by the select board. But any of my internal positions, I have the power to name as fire chief. So. Yep. So that's what I'm asking for there. 501.8, increases the reflection of the lines, all the increases to all the other positions. So that stipends paid is what we pay all of the call people, all the people that come from home, all the people that do not per diem, not full-time work. Today we responded to Parsonsfield to assist with a very large fire, and we had 5 people come in off duty to respond to that, and 2 at the station to cover the ambulance, and so those wages cover.
The stipend paid, we're on 08?
Yep.
50108?
Yep, 50108.
The 40,000.
Goes up to 40,000 to cover, we pay those out monthly based on trainings attended, meetings attended, and calls they went on, and that's all for the call people, the people that are not working shifts.
For the volunteers?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I don't call them volunteers because they're not volunteering per se, but yeah.
In layman terms.
Correct. In layman's terms, they're volunteers.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. Yep, and so it just reflects pay increases to them that I'm proposing pay increases across the board for. 501.20 and 30 is the per diem and full-time lines. And so I'm just gonna read you what I wrote, because I wrote it out. Following the changes to the industry as part of the most recent pandemic, we need to make drastic changes to the rate of pay for all our employees. We have seen sweeping increases to pay across the county, which has made the market for staff even more competitive. We do not have enough fire and EMS personnel in the state to fill all the jobs that exist. This has led to different departments competing for people to fill those roles. We at Acton Fire Rescue have worked hard to find some of the best personnel, along with training new people, to ensure the residents of Acton's needs are met when they call 911. To ensure that Acton does not fall into dire circumstances of the towns around us, we will need to continue to offer good rates of pay, and therefore I have requested a $5 an hour market adjustment that will put us on board with everyone else in the rest of the county for all the positions other than mine. I understand that this is a large cost, and to offset this cost, I have suggested that some of the funds be pulled from ARPA, which it is a qualified account for, to give the raises needed this year to make the market adjustment so that we are back up to where we need to be to pay people equivalent to the other communities around us. And then using ARPA funds to offset that cost to the taxpayer over the next 4 years. This is for the full-time and per diem employees, so that I can continue to fill those positions. I will be frank with the two of you here. It is very hard to keep all the positions filled, and I have a great group of people.
Well, I think we understand right now, everybody's having a hard time. Don't matter if it's the
Most days,
anything.
we're the only staffed ambulance in 4 towns. People in other communities are calling 911 and no one is coming to help them. That is the dire circumstances that we're in. There's entire parts of the state where people call 911 and no one comes to help them. I can't let that happen in my community, and so I have to have...
Anybody here has, any questions, how could you guys do over there? We're doing numbers here.
Yep.
And we just want to, we want to make everything work here. Now, I know, you've taken a liking to our ARPA funds, but which is, we know that's what it's for, it can be used for. So you said 4 years. You think that the ARPA funds are gonna offset this for 4 years?
So if you go to the ARPA funds page I submitted with my budget, it shows an offsetting number where the increases slowly occur from transitioning from ARPA fund use to taxpayer use. And so the first year, ARPA covers, I believe, the full amount for 87,000 of that. And then year 2, ARPA pays 3, the town pays 2, and then 4, and then 1, and it phases in, so the taxpayers aren't seeing a huge increase all at once, and the ARPA funds are used to offset that cost.
So would they not get any increases over the next 4 years?
There wouldn't be any increases unless we had another, I can't tell you that we're not gonna have another pandemic. I didn't expect that labor would change the way that it has. I expected that the next couple of years I would keep following inflation, giving raises as appropriate.
Your plan is fine and all that, unless there's another increase.
Yeah.
Because you're asking, we're using, because it's like smoke and mirrors, you're taking money that's given to us, it's offsetting for a little while, then that money disappears, then we pick up the tab, and then what happens when we have to make the other increases? Or just the financial impact and over the years, it's whether or not it's, we've got the ARPA funds.
Yep.
It's whether or not we want to make the impact now and then transition to it easily, or that's the problem I have. I don't like when we take something, it's like, okay, back in the day, remember when we had somebody said, we're gonna give $100,000 a year to the fire department, then shut up that year, then that money's gone, and we had to make up the difference.
Absolutely. And I only offer this as a proposed solution. I submitted my budget with both. So I submitted it as the tax takes all of it, and we don't use ARP funding for that. We use it for the other new equipment acquisitions to make our job in EMS better. I also submitted it with using ARP funds to offset the cost of the increases, what ARPA calls premium pay for frontline workers.
Yeah. And your presentation's great and all that, you put a lot of thought into it, we just make sure that, I just want to make sure in the long run that it doesn't come back to bite us.
Absolutely.
The ARPA funds are gone, and all of a sudden, boom, but we do have to make these pay increases, to a point.
Yep, and I understand that in your job is to do what's best for the town and fall within the line of the taxpayers and budgets, and my job is to make sure that my people are taken care of, and everybody in this room knows that I will die on that hill.
Yeah. So, and we appreciate that, Rick, you sell cars?
No, I got into politics instead.
Okay. So the $5 an hour would be, what would the percentage of the increase on those wages roughly be?
It was, I want to say 23%. It's more than your
23%.
highest rate.
Think of it more of as a market adjustment than a raise.
So that is for the $5 an hour, is that all the per diems and all?
That's every employee except myself.
Okay.
My firefighter EMTs who have 1 year of school just to do that job are making $17 an hour right now. The road commissioners are already paying people that hold signs more, and they have to attend a weekend class, I believe.
Easy, we're gonna leave other departments out of this.
I'm just saying, my guys work hard, and they put their lives on the line, and they did all through the pandemic.
Yep.
And I will say, because I've been attending these workshops on the ARPA and listening to what other towns are doing, and a lot of the other towns are investing their money into the pay increases this year. So if we don't follow suit, I don't know if it's gonna be $5 or not, but if we don't follow suit with those increases this year, we're gonna be way behind the standard after everybody has their Junetown meeting.
Well, I'm just making them fight for it.
Oh, I know,
Well,
I know.
so here's the flip side, can we use it as ARPA funds to give the road commissioners $5 an hour instead of the $2 that we talked about?
Does that?
They are not essential frontline
They're not
workers.
considered essential. I'm just trying
Can
to
we get them
go back to
culverts?
the
Do they need
7%
culverts
across the board.
They can get
You can get culverts, right?
I mean, that's, we have to,
So that was the issue I'm having, was we're trying to do across the board, but the problem you have is if we don't do the increase that he's talking about, we're gonna be at a disadvantage.
Right, and that's why you have to separate raises from market adjustment. Market adjustment says the market changed, and our labor market changed. You're getting $18+ an hour to work as fast food.
Oh,
And my guys are a lot higher trained than fast food workers.
And that's what I was trying to get to.
Wait,
Yeah.
Cut me off, Rick.
And so we have to make that market
So
adjustment to survive.
what we're doing, what we've been doing is, we do have individuals that we're giving a little bit larger raise because of the position they're in. We're trying to get away from the merit raises, and we'd like to go right across the board, but a 7%'s not gonna do it for you, right?
Not for my guys on the floor.
Okay, so,
How much of a percentage hike was it, you say?
your budget,
23?
I didn't hear you, I just heard.
I was just wondering exactly what the percentage was of the hike for this, that's all.
So, at the end of the day, you have the increase there. Overall, you got a 17% increase.
Yep.
I thought it was 20.
That's pre-insurance. Michelle has those numbers. I don't get those when I do.
And we're at you'll see one of your lines in the packet here is highlighted because we're at a standstill because
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what we're doing with this, medical director, and we're gonna have to eat the cost of the insurance that he has to get. So that line is kind of up in the air.
I thought we weren't gonna be supplying the insurance.
We're to pay for it, whether we supply it or not, is how.
Yeah, so when he comes as a subcontract, he's just gonna add that to his thing, and we're gonna have to.
Correct. It's gonna come from one line or it's gonna come from the other.
All right.
So, my question is, with the ARPA funds, that's what the ARPA funds added in, the 17%?
No, that 17 is without using
Without,
ARPA funds.
okay.
Yep.
That makes more sense, okay.
I broke it out so you guys had options.
With the ARPA funds, Michelle, what's it gonna incur onto the taxpayer with the ARPA funds added in? Roughly, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, if I had my laptop, I have
4076.
on the side of this packet that don't print on the paper, so I would have had that information for you already.
10. Mental math, you'd be talking around close to 10 to 12%, I think. That's just on top of my head. Michelle's gonna come up with a much better number.
I can't see them, that's
Pros,
the problem.
yeah.
You need glasses? I have extra on my, if you wanna use them.
So,
Why is she figuring that out?
You wanna go through the rest of the lines?
50, so of the increase to the whole department, not your special pieces of equipment, 55,000 would be the increased tax dollar if we use ARPA funds to offset that.
It'd be $55,000 increase with the ARPA funds.
With the ARPA funds,
Okay.
yes.
How much funds is he using?
87,360
Okay,
is
for
the
the first year.
proposal.
How much are our total ARPA funds? I'm sorry.
276,819. So with this proposal and with the equipment proposal, that leaves $74,721 left for other things later on.
All right. That's equipment and the raises.
Yep. Over the 3-year phase-in.
Kate,
Something we gotta think about.
was there any increases on the, let's see here.
That went down, that's fine, that's the same. 5. So, same. Subcontractor services, like almost doubled.
Yeah.
That's the medical director.
Okay, and that's, okay.
Yep.
So I'm just kind of looking through.
Yeah, our other contract stuff is like software that we use,
Okay,
services that we use, like in hood inspection and stuff like that. And then most of that, it basically doubled because we're now required to have that medical director position.
okay.
Yeah, I love that. The state requires you to do it. They don't help us pay for it.
Oh, every year. Mostly they pick me a new piece of equipment I have to buy.
Yeah. Oh, what is your new piece this year?
Nothing this year.
No, you don't? I thought you were getting one of those lifting beds.
That's in the ARP funds. The ARP funds, I'm requesting a power load and a Lucas device. So the Lucas device is the one that does compressions on somebody in cardiac arrest. And then the power load, we already have a stretcher that lifts. This one loads the stretcher in, it takes all the weight. So when you load a stretcher, and I don't know if you remember this from when you were on, but
I don't remember any of that.
So you roll those front two wheels on, and you've got to pick the whole person and the stretcher up, and then push them in. The power load system locks it all in, picks the whole thing up and slides it in. So you can take, because that stretcher can hold up to 700 pounds, and yes, we have patients that are near that weight. What we do now is we put 4 people around the end and they all pick it up together and walk coordinated, which is great in Maine on the ice in the winter. With the power load system, you just hook it all up, the machine picks up, and literally with one finger you can roll it in. So it's a back saver. It's gonna save us from somebody getting hurt down the road. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a piece of required equipment in the next 5 years, but obviously we'll be
Yeah, if
grandfathered in.
workers' comp has anything to do with it, it will.
Yes, because when you talk to workers' comp and they talk about back injuries, that's one of their ones that's on the big chopping block, is stretcher loading. Other increases are just, the phone bill went up.
Yeah.
Electricity and oil, we're keeping the same. We came under the last 2 years. Everything's gone way up, so I'm projecting we're gonna come in at this year based on the percentage increases. Hopefully we do. Again, I'm at the will of people much bigger than me on oil and electricity pricing.
So, yeah. You got any more questions?
I don't, I've kind of gone through it. I mean, I see what he's asking for and why, and I guess we'll talk about it tomorrow night. Thank you.
If you have more questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd be more than happy to go explain everything in great detail. As you know, I don't need to tell you that. But I appreciate you guys giving me the time to speak, and I wholeheartedly ask that you at least give all of my people the raises they deserve, and they work hard for it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot.
We're actually gonna sneak in cable, Mike Corey just came in, so with your approval, we're gonna sneak him in real quick, because I don't expect he's gonna take long, and then I wanna jump over and let Michelle cover the areas.
Because she's got
on her behalf, and we'll do mine, last.
Okay.
Save the best for last.
That change of heart sitting here, so I'm sure that you'll agree with that by the end.
Oh, stop.
Well, actually, if you look at it, we're on task there. What's it?
I know, I almost publicly thanked, well, no, we're half hour behind.
I'm joking around. If you look at it, it's 4 o'clock, anyway.
Okay, yeah. Hello, Michael, sit down.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Jump right in.
I have my numbers in front of me, but I'm not sure, it's not exactly what you're looking at, I don't think, as far as the format goes.
It's really just an overview. They've spent all day kind of talking about, they're gonna determine what increase everybody gets. They're looking at a higher cost of living than I know you asked for, I think 1.5.
That one with the standard, yeah, 1.5 that you usually do annually.
They're looking at 6 or 7%, so they'll adjust those numbers on whatever they decide as a full board. Do you have other increases for every budget that you want to go over?
No, actually, it's pretty much the same. I tried actually to decrease and cut some costs, but I think I have a 1.42% increase on my overall budget.
Right.
My only question is, now that APAT rolls its unspent allocation over, it goes into an undesignated fund, I'm assuming?
It goes into the APAT Capital Equipment Fund.
Okay, so I did put, like, I put some money aside last budget
3,500.
for a new computer, but I'm waiting for that computer, or I may make a computer that, I'm anticipating to be released that hasn't been released yet. So I haven't purchased it, so that money will be available in the future.
What he's asking basically is to make sure that we keep that article that carries forward that fund.
Yeah, that way I have that funding available when they do.
I will still cover it as time goes on and
My anticipation is it will, and if not, any extra money I accrue, if any money is accrued over time.
did you get the revenue check this week?
I haven't gotten the revenue.
I saw that email that is coming through.
No, I can just fundraise instead of sending.
And you said that, I didn't even realize that Atlantic was bought out,
They were
or,
bought out, I thought they were at first as
changed
well,
the
they
name.
just, it's a,
Rebranding.
Spirit. They just wanna, they don't feel like Atlanta broadband is very warm and friendly. So, Breeze line. Breeze line.
yeah.
Warm and friendly.
That feels
Be warm and
more-
friendly, but you're a couple of
More cable, I don't know.
Just
It has
fix the
to do with the
cable,
name.
make the cable work.
It's like Facebook changing their name
Right,
to the metaverse.
right. So no increases, no special needs, no wants?
No, just the computer line, and I'm just trying to maintain status quo. I've got a line for,
How are you feeling with the stipends, I know this month is slam packed every night, I mean, we still have enough, do you think you're?
yeah, I
Will you be okay?
think we're okay. I think, I tried to do, I calculate based on the data spreadsheet that I have with a little cushion just in case. So there should be enough set aside for stipends and hourly rate now.
And
With-
we've kind of had the conversation that Michael and I have looked at a couple times. We want to make sure that, especially where there's increases everywhere else, that it's working out, what is the average meeting? How often are they getting an hour meeting and essentially getting, $50 or $40 an hour?
Right.
Or 2.5, 3 hours, and what is it breaking down to? We want to see if there's any reason for
Is it averaging
increase.
out?
Yeah, usually it's a 2-hour, 2 hours is usually, the cap as far as the setup, meeting, and tear down.
Averaging about $25 an hour.
Ish. I can go through and do a actual tear down of that in more depth granularly, but
There's no increase in that line as long as
I just want to
the,
make sure that, that
You don't
he's good
feel
with
the
that.
need? I mean,
Still, I mean, it's benefit, but you paid $50 from the beginning, right?
yeah.
But I think because of the way it's averaged out, because there are some short meetings, so.
okay, so
longer
you're right.
ones and,
Yeah.
as long as they average out, I mean, and it helps, helps fine with it.
Yeah,
How you
there.
doing finding help? I mean, are you,
Virginia's always been the GOAT. She's always been, I always call on her. She's always been there, since the beginning of the APAT, even before my time. We just hired on Dan. He's awesome. He's doing a great job. He picked right up. He's got a huge tech background, so he's my backup now. He's doing the edits just great, and we're getting a system and process in place. So everything is working smoothly, or smoother now. Yeah, and, that's definitely enough help as far as covering meetings and, having a backup for edits.
where in the range of what other people get paid to do the same job, hourly wise?
What's our closest community that
I
does
guess,
this kind of meetings, do you know?
Sanford, I would say, yeah, I don't know, I haven't reached out to the Sanford TV production, but they also have a lot more revenue involved.
Well, they do.
Yeah, but I don't think they do as many meetings as we do. I think they just do their basic town council and, yeah.
Their meetings aren't as fun as ours.
No, they aren't. I don't think they are. I think there's a lot more entertainment here in the small town of Acton, that's for sure.
Best.
Anything else for Mr. Michael, if everyone wanted to drive here, then he did answer the questions, so.
Yeah, I had a back-to-back.
Only 2 minutes away.
Oh, okay.
We appreciate it.
Now I am, yeah. All right, if you
Coming in.
any questions, let me know.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, so now we are due to go over the, general governments and treasurer's line.
The what line?
The treasurer, town administrator, all of those lines.
General government, page 1.
Page 1, in the beginning.
All right, so the selectmen's salary, we did not put in for a 3% increase. So that's a discussion you guys need to have, but that is flatlined. The gym, obviously we're not using it, so that's zero, the electricity, based on the current need. The office assistant, range, even though there appears to be a decrease there, we did plan on the deputy town clerk going from, she's at 1850 now, and we planned on her going to 20. Is that right? Here, 21.
Where are we here now?
We're on, office assistant, we're going right down.
Yep, yeah, I know,
So she's at 1850, she's been here a year and a half, she's certified. We're proposing to put her at 20, I think it's
What's,
20.
I was gonna say, what's the
We had talked
7%?
20, and we also talked 21 after the fact, based on some,
So Lebanon released
surrounding
the
towns.
post, Lebanon released the posting yesterday that we
Oh, did
didn't like.
they? Uh-oh. So this is new compared to the one?
Well, no, I mean, 21, even if it's not all at once, I mean, if you look at the deputy tax collectors, they're starting anywhere between, 18 and $23 an hour, depending on the town. Lebanon just posted a job yesterday at 17 to 22. 17 to 22 to walk in off the street.
yeah, she just got all those certifications and stuff, and,
She's on 3 years now.
yeah. This is one of the ones that we were cherry picking out, make sure that we got up to where it needed to be.
Where it needed to be, yep.
So we can start leveling off at our regular percentage.
She's at 1850, I mean, even if we'll double check the math, even if we did it to 21, just to make sure that, well, that number should still, support in there. The other one, the other office assistant line that's in there, she just started, she's at 16, and I think we estimate that we put in there was
Up to 18.
up to 18, not to say that it's an automatic increase. But again, like Rick has said, and we may not say it quite as well as he does, it is true that they are, that these positions are at McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts and so forth at $18 an hour, and, you may think that it's just, answering a phone at the counter, but these
Do a
employees
lot.
have to be bonded, and they have to be able to take certifications and be able to perform to a certain level, so.
I keep talking about going up to 7%, this and that, and getting people where they need to be. I think right now, we're in the best position right now, and I don't know if you can correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, but financially, we're in a lot better spot right now to get us to that point, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, we
Yeah.
wanna do it now while we can afford it.
Right.
All right, so we've got one going from 1850 to 21, and then the other one going from 16 to 18, possibly. I mean, we need to take into consideration.
She's new, right? So,
That, the land use secretary is at, I think that, she needs to be somewhere in the middle.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There needs to
And I
be-
think that's how we,
That's how we figured it. I
Jason.
thought the other one was only going to 17,
up to 18.
up to 18. So we'll double check those numbers, but that's what that line's for. Michelle, you want to go through the next?
Unemployment, that's a decrease, a little bit of a decrease. Workers' comp is a little bit of an increase, health insurance, that, is hopefully a topic of conversation at your next Board of Selectmen's meeting. I had proposed joining the Maine Municipal Health Trust, Employees Health Trust. In previous years, it wasn't cost-effective for us to do that because their plans were so high, and we just kept with this high deductible plan and contributing towards the health savings accounts. These high deductible plans have been so unstable for the past 3 years that it is now cheaper to go with the health trust. And they're much better plans. You have an option of 3 different plans. You can, leave the option open to your employees so they can look at it and see what they need and what they're willing to invest, their contributions to. It also opens it up, they can buy into dental, vision, life insurance, income protection, which is like a short-term, long-term. So it gives the employee, and there have, almost every employee that is qualified for benefits has asked about dental. Can we at least buy in? Because buying in on your own, I mean, y'all know, self-employed, it's expensive. So the town wouldn't necessarily have to contribute to that dental plan, but it is a much cheaper alternative. I buy in over in Shapley because it's cheaper than me, buying it myself. So it opens up those possibilities to people that, people are looking for. Short-term is another thing that people have inquired in the past because that would cover like a maternity leave.
So right now, what you have for numbers here,
Buying into the new plan.
that's buying into the new plan?
Right, so that's half a year in the new plan and half a year in the current plan.
Okay.
And that number would be a lot higher if it was the regular plan.
Yes.
Okay. And we've seen a serious increase.
So over the past 5 years, the highest increase with the Maine Municipal Health Trust was 4%. That was the highest. Last year, there was no increase. So it's a pretty stable plan. You're not seeing those fluctuations where we're seeing 12 to 15% on these high deductible plans for small businesses.
Okay.
Sounds like
It's a lot more stable, so if we get in there, we know that, we're not gonna have to add on another $50,000, $60,000 every year, because we're just guessing.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll talk about that tomorrow night. You said make a decision.
Yeah, so it's gotta be a warrant article. The town has to vote to join into the health trust, because once you join into it, you can't get out of it unless you have another town meeting vote, to get out of it. And you can offer just one plan, or you can offer up to 3 plans. Over in Shapley, it doesn't cost you any different.
Okay.
They offer the best plan that's available and the next 2 under it, just to give the employees some flexibility.
So pretty much our warrant article would just be to go,
in.
to opt in, and after that, we decide to do what we want to do afterwards.
Right.
Okay.
Social Security, Medicare, that's based on handyman hours. For building maintenance. Maine PERS longevity employee benefits, on Trio, it's called other employee benefits, but this kind of just breaks it out.
Down some because of new staff, I'm guessing?
Yes, down some because of new staff. We lost some staff that had some longevity, so the new people aren't getting the prime of the benefits right now. Other than that, we took a decrease in heating fuel. That's just because we've been getting such great rates contracted with our current company. And hopefully, and I think we're seeing it already, we have a savings with these pumps.
Oh, good.
What we're utilizing for propane.
Oh, sure.
I was kind of thinking, gosh, there must be a bill that's out, that we didn't get, got lost in the mail. So I called them to make sure, did I miss a delivery here? But no, we haven't missed a delivery, so.
The electrical bill, is that on here? How much has the electrical bill gone up because of those pumps?
Not a lot, really. And I expected it. Of course, we just got them in, and I haven't looked at it. They're in this week's bill. I haven't looked at the,
Town hall electricity.
I know, I've got them in my house.
the usage.
They didn't come out, they
It
didn't-
went up from that, or just everybody else?
Yeah, the
has gone up?
cost, the cost price it's gone up from that, but,
So it wasn't noticeable then.
in town hall. So, January, we got hit hard. An increase, but December was,
January was cold.
So not because of the pumps,
Right.
because of the costs?
Right, no, I mean, the usage went up in January more than it did last year. Yeah, I'm looking at the right one. So we're definitely, in the colder month, which is January, and those things are running all the time, we did see an increase there, but in the other months, no. You know, so I think it's just when it's cold, and that's what, most everybody has said in those cold snap months, you're getting more.
Yep, they're not as efficient.
Right.
Yep. So where are we now?
Other than that, the audit expenses, we're kind of up in the air there. I don't know what to budget until we really have that number tied down, so I threw a number in there, just basically doubled it based on how it will go out to bid. Telephone is up just a smidge, $200. Building maintenance, we left the same. The Trio software rental is up just a little bit. Property and casualties up slightly. Next year, I expect it to go up a little more when we eventually get this new truck that we've been waiting for so patiently. And then our debt service is down because we paid off the Goat Hill loan and we paid off the sand and salt building. We have had discussions about paying off the tanker loan early, just, to save some money that we're paying
So
interest.
the 70,
The 70 is our normal payment.
yeah.
Okay.
And then, so on the last page of this, or second to last page, is our special projects. And I have the loan payoff in there. Around 157.
So we only owe 2 more payments is roughly what it is? 157?
This one plus 2 more, right?
Oh, okay,
Right.
yeah. 175, 157, yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I wanna say it was like $20,000 in interest,
That would save us.
save, yeah.
I'm all for paying off.
Yeah,
We
I
got the
mean,
money.
the money's there and, next up, no increase in elections, no increase in registrar of voters. In finance, really the only increase is 3% is what I proposed on my salary. And just a little bit in mileage based on the increase there.
So before we do the, town administrator, we'll get back to that, I just wanna jump to the end, so we have a couple of questions from Michelle. So the bottom line, if everything is in here the way that it's presented today, the special projects that, she has, you have all of the right special projects in here? You have everything that was requested in here? Is that how this is?
Yes, this is as
So the
requested.
40 to
So
35.
that brings us at what? What's the total? How much is the budget up?
The budget is up to 13,000?
13,000. That's with all special projects.
17,000 rather?
Is that with the raises?
Well,
No.
that's with the.
That's
Okay.
as
That's the
requested.
increase.
Okay.
Right, so you could, if you decide to take a special project out, you could put that in salary somewhere else. I mean, as everybody presented to you today, that's what it's in there.
So, on the other end of things, the revenue, like, state revenue sharing is supposed to go up 0.5% this year. Our revenues in general are up because, like, Jen will tell you that the cost of registering a new vehicle.
Oh my God.
It falls in line with the cost of buying a new vehicle these days. It's ridiculous. So that's boosting our excise revenues up because that's based on the MSRP of these vehicles. So we're seeing some increases there. I think it would take a lot of work for us to have a tax increase this year.
Yeah.
Because, our undesignated fund needs to be cut down.
We still have some spending that we need to do somewhere.
Yeah,
So paying off some stuff.
Yeah,
Some
so-
increases in wages.
Talked
right.
about bridge maybe,
Yep, the bridge.
and something that
Would be really
Tom has some ideas he wants to share with you tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I mean, we don't want right now, the number that we're showing on our surplus, 2.6 or something like 2.5.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And,
And the bridge needs to be done, one way or the other.
what do we keep, we like to
3
keep
months worth?
3 months worth.
Is that what it is, 3 months worth?
Yeah,
At least,
they recommend at least a month, but,
3 months is good.
say 3 months is safe.
Yep.
We saw a 3-month shutdown. We didn't get those, those revenues didn't
So
come
you
in
do-
for 3 months, so we had to live off of what we had.
So if we do 6 months, is that too much?
6 months is way too much.
So,
Yeah.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, no, I think you could easily cut that down to 1.2 and, we'd be comfortable.
'Cause we can use quite a bit of that to offset if we have on the other side of it. Because we got some increases here with the fire department, road department, overall, right across the board with the wages.
Yeah.
And then paying off the fire truck,
Contract deputy, while I'm still here.
yeah.
So right now, our contract ends in December. I did put an estimated budget in there for continuing the contract, but I don't know as though the board is going forward with renewing that contract. I didn't know what you guys had decided on that.
So at this point, the sheriff's department hasn't offered us a renewal. He hasn't even decided that he's going to have that conversation. We're trying to get our deputy that we've hired in place. He's still in his notice from the.
Oh, is he still?
Yeah. Well, we're trying to put a little pressure on getting him moved over. I mean, it's been a few weeks now, and that's kind of what I'm told. Hopefully by.
Good thing we didn't go to the special town meeting and ask for money for that, huh? 'Cause
No, I
we've
know.
been on the other side of it. Okay. I guess we'll move on to the, I don't have any other questions.
Yeah, other than that,
we're gonna call in with Tom tomorrow night, right?
He's on, budget on the agenda.
Okay.
I think the rest of municipal management is basically town administrator, right? Yeah.
Michelle, are you gonna be around tomorrow? If we have questions? Are you,
We'll tell you in 1 second.
So what we're hoping is that if you make some solid recommendations or decisions for tomorrow night's meeting, Michelle and I can meet Thursday and enter them in, and then we can come back to you and say, okay, based on paying this off, setting this off in the bridge, giving everybody 7%, now this is where we're at, so.
we got an extra week, right, Dennis?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that gives us a little leeway, because, I mean, obviously, we're plugging numbers in, we're not sure, we don't know what the mill rate's gonna be by just doing this and doing that.
Right.
So, you'll be able to, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it's a matter of deciding what you want to put forward and how you want to put forward the things that have been requested from your departments and what you want to do. The salaries are gonna, they're gonna be a big impact, so. So I can be available if you need me to.
I think we got a pretty good grasp on this, huh?
I think so.
So what we'll do is we'll do what I think we've made enough notes here that we have a pretty good idea, and Tom, we'll have to just fill him in.
Right.
And,
I'm sure he's been probably looking over all this stuff too.
I have a pretty good idea that our first round probably won't be sufficient. We'll probably have to make some adjustments anyways.
Spend some more down after.
Yeah, so,
Get your operating budget done first, and then decide what you're gonna do from there.
yeah, I got a pretty good idea what I wanna do, so.
I just would like, some money for the bridge. That's,
But yeah.
you know.
I think what we
it's gonna
do
be
is
enough for
we
that.
go through this.
Yep.
We have a pretty good idea what, I mean, we haven't really talked about the 7% all that, but
No.
when we,
It would be nice to see what it's gonna bring it up to.
yeah, when we figure out what that's all gonna cost, that's gonna be a pretty sizable, amount of money.
Right.
And then, you know, we have the large increase, on the fire department side of it. When we come at the end of it, we'll see what we have for monies left, you know, and out of that
Right.
2.5, I'm sure there's money somewhere where we can, 2.6 or whatever it is, that I would think we could put a couple $100,000 away, easy enough
We
there
have,
to,
how much, we already still, do we still have some money in that fund? In
one?
the bridge and culvert.
75.
Okay, so there is some money in it,
yeah,
which is
so I
good.
mean,
And we have, I mean, at some point, we're gonna, think about it, maybe doing something on the capital improvement list, once they
Yep.
revise your list, they're
Yep.
coming before you in April, so maybe we can check something off that.
I think right now priority is
Biggest thing is getting
getting
the-
locked down on this, and then,
Yep.
second priority would be getting a bridge project funded. As long as we have, I know they're working on it, as long as we know there's a plan and we got some money ahead, we'll be in pretty good shape. So, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Go home and go through this again.
Are we, still got you right there?
I think so.
Yeah, we still got
Oh,
Jen,
yeah.
right?
Such a,
Yeah. All right, so my budget, is pretty much flatline, it's got a 3% increase on it,
Where we
but
start?
it has, 3% increase. I guess I wanna go over a few things with you, and, talking to Tom has been enlightening over the last couple of weeks, because it
What number?
seems to be I don't know where really, but in my head.
Oh, okay. All right.
As you know, Michelle put together these hourly rates and stuff, so I make $38.25 an hour. I've been working for the town of Acton for 17 years. Your APAT director for 11 years makes $36. Your code enforcement officer that you just brought in for less than a year makes $34 an hour. So he's $4 behind me, 16 years I have over him. If you look at the neighboring towns, and that's what I'm kind of hoping to go through with you guys, part of me is, or was content with the 3% increase, but I feel like as everybody else is getting brought in higher and, starting at these higher rates
One,
that,
you're across the board.
well,
That includes you.
so let's just go through some of these. So we've been doing research from surrounding towns that are similar to us. So the town of Alfred pays 3 people, okay? Then we're not talking about support staff at all. We're not talking, you don't have this. This is
Okay, I'm just,
The town of Alfred pays support staff. All of these towns have support staff. Most all of them have 2 support staff, some sort of secretary and some sort of deputy to assist with the window, okay? So we're only talking about, just so that everybody watching knows that I'm comparing apples to apples, we're only talking about the titles of town clerk, tax collector, and town administrator. Now, the registrar of voters is dumped in there somewhere, the freedom of information, person is dumped in there somewhere. I'm required by law to be Michelle's deputy treasurer. That's all built into these salaries. So that's, the salary that I make is all of those things included, other than the registrar, which is a $300 a month stipend, so that's $3,600
okay.
a year, and there's no increase on that. So the town clerk, tax collector, and registrar of voters. So the town of Alfred pays 3 different people to do those positions. They have a town administrator in Alfred, they have a tax collector, our dear Sarah, or Michelle, and then they have a town clerk. So 3 people are getting 3 full benefit packages in the town of Alfred, and all 3 salaries total $179,172. My salary is at $83,514. Now, what I want people to know too, go on the record, they can say is that when you look at the town report book and you say, well, I thought Jen made 83,000, why does it say 92? Because when this land use department walked out on the town of Acton, I worked 75 hours a week, and you paid me for those extra 20 hours a week, as you should have, to run that department. So that year-end total is everything included. So somebody, I want people to stop and say, okay, she makes $83,000 to be the town clerk, tax collector, and town administrator. She's doing all that job. So when the number is above that, there's a reason I just, when I look at these rates and I look at what the other people are paying, I'm not taking away from any of them. But for the amount of years that I've worked for the town, I haven't had a snow day or a holiday off. I mean, you guys can attest, all snow day Friday, I worked dealing with that personnel issue. Saturday, we were closed. I came up and did that letter. The Veterans Day that we deal with Ed, I was there all day. I mean, I'm working 60 plus hours a week, and I just feel like the hourly rate based on other positions, to see code enforcement at already at 34 in 6 months and getting another increase. I'm just telling you about, I just feel like.
Previous selectmen, I mean, I know you get the 3%, okay? But have you gotten raises at all? Have any?
Well, I mean, every selectman looks at it differently.
Okay.
I mean, I've come to you with all this information.
Well, what you're telling us is that
we
you're
know
doing
it's a
3 jobs, there's 3, benefit packages we're not having to pay, well, 2 additionals.
Right.
That we're not paying for. I don't think there's anybody that, doesn't realize what you do for us up here.
Watch the last couple town meetings, there's always somebody. That's
I
fine,
understand
that's
that.
okay.
I
That's
understand
It is
what
time for a
spell it
raise,
out.
though.
I want to spell it out so that people understand. I mean, if we look at Shapley, Shapley has, town clerk, tax collector, they have a town administrator that they just brought in, the Carla left to go to Alfred. Those 3, you have 1 town clerk, tax collector, and 1 town administrator, are making $90,136. So he's brand new, and together, the 3 of them make $90,000, and I'm at 83. The town of Waterboro, their town administrator position that's posted now is posted at an even 100,000. Now, they also have a town clerk at 43,000, a deputy at 45, and a tax collector for 41. When you look at the hourly rates across the board, now, and this is something that we presented 2 years ago, showing that Berwick has 2 people covering those 3 positions at 175,000. Waterboro just went over it. Limerick is 121,000, and it's 3 people. North Berwick is 104,000, 2 people. Lebanon is 97,000 at 2 people, and then we know that Acton is combined 1 person at 83,000. If you look at the hourly rates that Michelle did her own survey on, the hourly rates for your town administrator range from, you've got $28.30 to $47.50, $58.66, $66.46. Your town clerk hourly rates range anywhere from $22 an hour to $42 an hour, and the same thing, tax collectors anywhere from $22 to $33.47. I'm not sure what the right number is. I've always worked extremely hard for the town of Acton, and I will continue to do that. I'm just not sure that, it's really understood how much goes into the position that I hold. That's my opinion.
I think you ought to do what the rest of the departments are doing.
But I guess I feel like, David, as your employee, I feel like that's something you guys should be doing. I don't feel like it's my job to look at
The
these
problem we have with that,
my
Jen,
net worth.
You're the
is, I think we're
department
trying to
head.
get to the point where, here we're talking, doing a 7% increase on all wages, except for a few, and we're cherry picking out the ones that are severely underpaid.
Right.
So right now, we're talking about giving a 7%. But does that work for you?
Is that gonna bring it up to where you're supposed to be at,
So I guess, when you say 7%, so code office, APAT director, all
I'm not
those.
worried about those right now,
No,
we're
I
about
know.
your wage.
But I know, but I feel like that plays into effect.
But it does and it don't. You're giving us the evidence, the sheets are showing that you're underpaid, correct?
Correct.
And you're running that department. It's no different than the road commissioners just came in and they gave their spiel on how much they wanted, okay?
The fire chief and his.
And the fire chief just did the same thing.
No?
It's your job, it's your department to say what you think you're worth. We know what you're worth,
I guess I'm not sure it's a department so much as when I look at the town administrator position, I guess I'd like to, as I watched each one of them come through, I'd like to go through and present the support that position adds to each one of these departments throughout the town.
And what you've already shown us is that, you're saving us, I would think, just on the top of my head, just between 2 benefit packages would be $30,000 just for health a year. Okay, that's $60,000 you're saving us. By looking at the rates, I think that's what we talked about doing, was going town to town to town and seeing what these town administrators are making. And it's not fair to our administrator to be getting paid, way less than every other town administrator in this area. So you give us a number that you feel comfortable with, and it's our job to say whether or not it's comfortable for us.
Okay.
Yep, it is time, you know.
That way there, we don't lowball you and you highball us, and then we can treat it like that.
Yes.
Well, that's why we're doing
I
everybody
mean,
else.
I guess the piece I struggle with is you know what I mean, I struggle with looking at, you know what I mean, most of these administrators are making what I'm making, you know, if you compare, the administrators that are around the same hourly rate are just being that, you know, most
Right.
administrative
So you've gotta
salaries
think
are
about
what
the
we
other
make
ones you do.
just in administrator.
We plug the number that you come
I
in
can't
at.
add all three of them together, that's gonna be a
No,
ridiculous number.
that'd be like me taking 3 pieces of equipment to a job site, charging from all with one operator, you know, that just don't work.
That's
But
fine.
you've gotta be fair, we've gotta be fair with every employee, and that's what we're trying to do. We've got the money right now.
We worked
to get
with
us to where
Michelle
we are.
last year.
Every year, we have this problem, we keep losing employees because we don't pay them enough. And then they end up in Wells, they end up in Gunquit, they end up everywhere else except here. And then, I mean, right now, we're at the you know, I mean, how many resumes are we getting in with some of these positions? One.
Right.
And it's just not working out. So, I don't wanna go out and just make a big splash, but we've gotta make sure that all these positions are where they should be. We did it last year with Michelle.
Yep.
And, but I'm not gonna set your rate. You look at what you're running that department, you set that rate, and we'll tell you, you know, and we'll
we can do.
decide whether or not it's right.
By tomorrow night?
Yes, ma'am.
Alrighty. When we talk about the 7% too, I mean, that's for, I know some people were going up, okay, but like, okay, Michelle, she's gonna get that, is she getting that 7%? Is Mike Corey getting that 7%? What is, I mean, I feel like it should be, if we can, I just.
I was looking at it across the board, but the problem we have is, you know, the fire department's looking, well, they're 15% with all their per diems, and the problem with that is, you know, with that 15% across the board, there's a bunch of per diems. You know, that soaks up a lot of budget real fast.
Yeah.
You know, with that pay raise, but, you know, like we had, Rick explain to us that, you know, we're in the same predicament there, because, you know, because we've been lowballing for so long, that now we're in a predicament of playing catch-up.
Right.
And, you know, I don't wanna spend a bunch of money trying to play catch-up, but we gotta do what we gotta do.
Right.
If we have
Just,
to
or at
turn.
least get us, everybody.
So what do you, and I guess, and this kind of goes back to mine, because it does kind of weigh in the decision. What, I mean, are you guys on the same page? I know that we have Tom and we'll have a conversation, but are you on the same page as 7 across the board, except for the fire department that you're gonna do the $5 on? Because that makes a difference, because to me, I don't feel, you know what I mean? That affects what you know what I mean? What I'm personally thinking. So is that what you think the direction you're
I don't think it should be affecting, you should be looking at, just like the other departments did.
Right.
Well, but I don't, I mean, if the road commissioners.
I don't care what the road commissioners aren't the town administrator.
I know that.
And what we did with the road commissioners is we looked at the state rate, and we looked at the nearby towns. We adjusted their rate to that, there's no different than you.
Right, and we've got all this information, so, you know, and I know it's a little different because it's 3 jobs rolled into one, but I mean, I think we could come up with something. But, you know, if we can, I still would like to do the 7%
Make sure it's
for,
compensated as fairly. I don't think we want to turn around and start breaking the job up.
no,
Because that
no,
would-
because
I mean,
then we're gonna be
that's
paying 2
financially
more
stupid,
health,
you know?
yeah. Oh, it's
I don't think
snowing.
that, I mean, I would hope that my, you know, my performance wouldn't even.
Well, no, but what we're saying is, you're comparing yourself to 3 different jobs. So,
We had 3 different people,
We don't
we'd
want
have
3
3 different health insurance plans, and, you know, it would be a lot more, so.
No, in Waterboro, they've got the exact same position and it works, you know what I mean? Works well.
so that's what you're gonna do, you're gonna present us with that number, everything else is flatlined on the office, right?
Well, we did the mileage down, Michelle's come up with a plan, we kind of consolidated that as much, there's nothing else in there for substance.
We're gonna meet tomorrow.
I'm,
Regular selectmen's meeting today.
okay.
It's gonna be a long meeting.
Yeah, health insurance, personal policy, parking lot, West Shore Drive, audit, sheriff on there, budget updates, been a lot of fun.
Is there anything on there that we can, push off for a while? Cause I have
An
a,
executive session.
I was gonna say, do we have, yeah,
because, I have a feeling this is gonna take us a while tomorrow night.
we'll be here for a
I
while.
can, Tom asked the update on West Shore Drive, but he put that off. Audit, he asked that get out, you've got to finish that personal policy.
Yeah,
Well, I
so,
mean,
yep,
the personnel policy shouldn't be a big deal. I mean, we made the changes, the lawyers already
Well,
looked
we
through.
didn't do anything with the discipline piece, that was your homework, to go back and say, I never really got what are we doing with the evaluations, I mean, I went back and watched the
Right.
clip, and there was no real decision, so. Bring dinner, we're gonna get
Okay.
through some of these things.
have somebody bring us some dinner, we'll have an intermission.
Okay, well, I guess we're gonna adjourn the meeting?
Do we have to
Workshop?
adjourn?
No, we don't.
All right.
No, well, I was just being smart.
Smart.